at 6:15.
Okay. All right, y'all. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to All Politics Are Local, America's number one political hip hop radio talk show. Y'all know if it's Friday, y'all know it's time for All Politics Are Local. Sorry, we're a little late jumping on, but y'all know when y'all dealing with technology, sometimes it don't pop like it's supposed to. But good evening, everyone. So we've got some dynamite stuff going on tonight. Some stuff I'm really excited about that I'm looking forward to. But of course, we've got some folks coming up at 6:15, right, Zai? That's
We
going
got
to
a
get.
loaded show. We have some students from the Youth Power Action Network. Some students trying to be heard at the Newark Board of Education on a number of fronts. And some of them were involved in the drive to have students able to vote in the Newark School Board elections at 16. It's a sharp meeting of Newark students really trying to demonstrate some leadership and training. After that, we should have Dellwanna Miller, a brave queen that works with the Patterson Healing Collective. The Patterson Healing Collective is best known for their hospital-based violence intervention program and the work that they do in the streets around, making peace, similar to our street team and other programs. But they also have a very serious support group for mothers who have lost children to violence, for siblings who lost children to violence, and they're getting ready for a fresh round of what those support groups are going to be and how they're going to work and how they're going to meet. So she's going to talk about that arm of the Patterson Healing Collective. Then after that, this is Black Love Weekend. And right on, and God bless to all of y'all that got it, right? Right. We're going to have the great Naseed Gifted, Mr. Afrofuturism for Newark, New Jersey, and the conceptual and leader of ChemFest, who's hosting their annual Wakanda Ball tomorrow at Express Newark. We're going to talk about that gathering, and then we have a special guest to wind up the show this evening. Somebody very dear to me, and Ed, you know this family very well. We all, Wakanda Lumumba has been a fixture in our space for a long time, but some of us go back with Wakai's dad, the late great Chokwe Lumumba, who was a pioneer in the new African independence movement and would later become the mayor of Jackson, straight out of Detroit, though, actually. His sister, his little sister Sushanna, has penned a memoir, a family memoir, to lift up her revolutionary brother's legacy. She's going to be our special Black History Month guest at the end of the year. So it's a loaded show. It's a loaded show tonight.
And let me tell you something, Zai. I'm absolutely looking forward to Miss Shakur coming on. I mean, she's a great storyteller, by the way. You know what I mean? And quiet as kept. Most people don't know that she was actually a law student herself. And pretty smart around these places. So, looking forward to having a conversation with her about Baba Lumumba. I can't wait to read the book, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the book launches the end of the month in Detroit. And
Yeah.
I already reached out to some of, Chokwe was a pioneer in what we call the New African Independence Movement. It's a very important arm of the Black nationalist tradition. Reparations is like a key factor. They really carried the reparations movement for the Black liberation movement in the 60s and the 70s, the 80s, still do, right?
Yeah.
She, Chokwe was special to a lot of us. I go back to the 1980s with Daddy Chokwe. He was a big influence for a lot of. I reached out to some of our New African folks in New York to let's have that conversation about doing a book event for the book as soon as we are all mutually able to do that. And we should acknowledge from the door too that this is also part of a drive, a fundraising effort for her nephew, Chokwe's son, Chokwe Antar Lumumba. All right. Who was targeted by this Justice Department because they could not deal with another wave of a popular mayor named Lumumba in Jackson, Mississippi. And
Right.
so he has to fight to clear his name in the courts, much in the way that our own LaMonica McIver has to do so now also behind this backwards racist Justice Department. So it's loaded. It's a loaded story with it's a loaded legacy and with a loaded mission. So it's definitely timely.
Well, we definitely, should, talk with Miss Shakur when she come on about, definitely doing a book signing here in Newark with her. And then, maybe talking about ourselves, Zaid, maybe putting together a fundraiser perhaps with Mayor Baraka. You know what I mean? You know, here.
We could do that. It would be powerful if we could do that. And it would mean
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
And as organizer, I'm gonna tell you something. She's a crack organizer, right?
Yeah.
She in terms of fundraising, Sushanna can get down.
So could Rakia.
Yeah. She's an organizer. She was an organizer raised by organizers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's something, because I think the trial starts in July. So I think that one of the things we were talking about is definitely all of us getting together on a conference call. With Anton.
Yeah.
Get on a conference call with him and see if we can put something together. Before that trial start. As we get closer to the summer, and let's see if we can put something together, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To try and coincide with what she's doing, but more importantly, too, maybe we can schedule it around that time where she's also here to do the book signing, and then we can put together something where we have all of the kings come out, and do a fundraiser for our brother.
Indeed.
So sound like something I definitely want to be talking about with her to help put that together. Because Zaid, I said this to Rakia when she was on the show. This is about legacy.
Absolutely.
Right? This is all about them trying to make sure that Dame Lumumba doesn't rise any further than Antar having picked up the mantle and carried on the mayoralship down in Jackson, Mississippi. Right? I mean, that's really what this is about, and so we need to make sure that that we do everything we can to support this family.
That's right.
Their stance around free to land is legendary. You know what I mean? And you got to remember, man, he moved his whole family from New York, down to Mississippi. Of course, they're from Detroit, but to make that move with his family because he believed in that, man. And the work he was doing.
I remember them days. I remember they were little kids. When their father was up this way. Yes.
And the work he was doing, you got to remember the work he was doing with the organization, but even his legal work was impressive, man. You know what I mean? The cases he
one of our go-to movement lawyers.
Yeah. The cases he was taking on, and some of the, it's interesting because I think about some of the stories I heard Antar, tell, man, about his father and some of the incidents he had in court with some of the judges, was absolutely legendary,
Absolutely.
And then think about some of the other revolutionary lawyers that worked with him, those brothers and sisters. So I mean, we definitely need to talk about that maybe a little bit with Sushanna tonight, but yeah, man, it would be great if we could put something on in Newark, right? In a big, beautiful way to support our brother, because he was he was riding with us with the National Black Convention, brother.
I had to remind her of that because she couldn't figure out where she knew you from. Then I said, "No, let me tell you."
Yeah. Well, Zaid, I lay in the cut, brother. You know what I'm saying? I lay in the cut, man. I try to get the work done. But yeah, so that's the conversation I'm looking forward to because without a doubt, man, Baba Lumumba is one of my heroes, like Amiri is. So I find that to be outstanding. So we've got a lot we want to talk about tonight, man, just in terms of everything going on. But what's happening in political news, man? What's going on with that?
Well, several things I think we should lift up very quickly while we're waiting on our young folks to join us. We had Analilia Mejia on in her bid for the 11th congressional district. It was a serious catfight. She won, but it took 3 to 4 days to count all the votes. She only won by a handful of votes. It came down between her and Tom Malinowski, and she won. And it was, I say, it's a victory for not just her, but for radical struggle in electoral spaces, attacking the corruption and the money changers, and out organizing all the money influence that has corrupted and weakened the so-called Democratic Party. That's me. That's my line, right? And so I think that victory has that kind of significance. There's some ugly stuff in the air that I hope gets cleared. In that, Tahisa Way, who was the former Secretary of State responsible for our elections in New Jersey once upon a time, there's talk about AIPAC getting behind her to run against Analilia in the general election in a few months, because they put a lot of money behind these. Now, I hope Democrats do what they're supposed to do. You know, if Analilia was not a Sanders Democrat and was not a radical, right, they would automatically unite around the candidate who won the primary. Ain't that what you're supposed to do? In U.S. ABC elections? We'll see whether or not that happens. I hope that they don't do that mess, and I hope that young lady doesn't get caught up in that mess, because that is some mess, and that's what's wrong with the Democratic Party, and that's why these crazy behind racists done beat their behinds and took over this government and got us all scrambling. So that's that. We want to give a big lift, big shout out, a big right on to Analilia for her an excellent ground campaign, because she's an organizer. Remember, she's a serious organizer, had an organizing track record, and out organized, several wings of the Democratic Party machine in two of the wealthiest counties in the state.
Yeah,
it's really a great story on its own terms. We can go on for days on that one, but I definitely wanted to lift her up. I have been trying to get somebody from the nurses' strike
in New York,
and that strike is still going on. There was one settlement, because there's several different hospitals involved.
Right.
There was one settlement with one wing of nurses in connection with one particular hospital, but the others, they're still rumbling. They were close to a settlement early in the week, but then they said, no, this ain't working. So they're still in the streets, and I'm trying to get a brother who's got some lineage of an organizing kind to join us when we can be available to be a part of this. That's just something in the air. We were also supposed to have, I have to say this, we were also supposed to have, and then our students are starting to chime in, so I'll wind up. We originally were supposed to have some folks from Minneapolis, right? Including one of the Black Lives Grassroots organizers who faced arrest when they did that protest at the church. We're still trying to make that happen. So there's a lot in the air. And then there's, this whole new emphasis of trying to isolate Cuba by Trump. And, the stuff is out there. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. And this year is the centennial of Fidel and the 60th anniversary of the Black Panther Party. So I'm going to be leaning in on a whole lot of that, in coming weeks. So so let's bring in our guests from the Youth Power Action Coalition.
Hey, Zaid, you see, Brother Payne asked you a question about that picture back there.
That is a picture. Of course, that's Malcolm that's Malcolm at a rally he did some years ago at the Nation. I can't date that particular picture. I've been trying to date that, but this is just a good crowd picture when Malcolm was at a school. Malcolm used to work the college circuits. He used to kill them. Right.
Yeah,
This was his days. Uh,
yeah.
why he asked that, because he knows his uncle brought Malcolm to Rutgers.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
he did. The great Bill Payne brought Malcolm to Rutgers back in
Oh,
the,
wow.
this is, and that's a story that needs to be lifted up, as we get closer to the anniversary of Malcolm's assassination. But I don't want to talk too much. I want to give these young folks some time, because I'm hearing they're doing some incredible things. In
Okay.
fact, I'm hoping Jonathan on, because I got word is that this young sister Ba is one of Mr. Austin's former students. Is that correct? Sister Fountain, is that correct?
Yes, I was part of his debate team.
So we know you know how to make some noise then, if you've been trained by Mr. Austin.
That's right.
Well, we want to welcome you both to All Politics Are Local. Just very quickly, how I got your attention, or how you got my attention. I saw an article in the news when y'all went to the Board of Education a few weeks ago, raising concerns about how you want certain things addressed. And it's the first that I had seen that. And then as I looked into it and I saw an affiliation with the GEM Project, Miss Ebukosia is someone I appreciate a whole lot. So I got her on the phone and said, where are these young people at? We got a mic for them. We want to hear what they got to say, and throw them some support. And so between the two of us, we made that happen. So we wanted to welcome you both, give each of you a chance to introduce yourselves as you would like to be introduced. Tell us about the Youth Power Action work, and why it's important, and just how can the community support some of the things that you're raising.
And, and I'd like to know where the name come from. I like the name Youth Power Action Network. I like that. That's very strong. Who created that?
Well, let them tell us. Let them tell us. Granddaughter Bob, talk to us. You started, already started with you. You might as well just formally introduce yourself as you see fit, and then we'll move over to Casey.
Hello, my name is Fatima Taba. I started off as a fellow with the GEM project. And then I joined like the Youth Power Action steering committee and like just the platform as a whole like afterwards. I came in like a little bit afterwards, like uh during the not during the addendum stage, like post uh focus group stage, like where addition okay, let me start off like how the this whole thing started. It first
Yeah.
started off with like focus groups. Like I wasn't here for this stage, but like youth a part of the GEM project conducted focus groups where like they had like students come in and they asked them like a couple of things about like their school climate, mental health experience,
Hey,
safety.
hold on for a second, Bob. Can you bring your camera down? Because we can only see the top of your head. Okay.
Okay, sorry.
All right.
They asked them a couple of things about school climate, mental health, safety, student voices, and conditions in the school. Like this was all collected by young people. They analyzed it and then like published white papers outlining the findings and recommendations they found within like the focus groups that was conducted. And then afterwards, I joined and we used what we found within these white papers, and we created KPIs, key performance indicators, and like we used those findings to create those KPIs, and with that we were able to create the addendums.
And
The
what
addendums.
and what is KPIs? What is that?
KPI is key perform. It's a key performance indicator. So
Indicator. Okay.
yeah. So we used like the information to create the KPIs, and with the KPIs we were able to like condense it like specific to mental health and also like school infrastructure. Uh well like and this was all youth centered. Like it was the youth who conducted these focus groups. It was the youth who who like wrote the white papers, who created the KPIs, and then also who later created these addendums. And it was you from like prior gen projects. So it's like I came in, like I said prior, like I came in during the addendum, during the KPI stage, and then it was a whole summer long thing where we like read through these KPIs, we analyzed it, we even talked to the different youth that was in the organization to like also input like our personal experiences within this, and then we created the KPIs. uh would you like me to like, go on like what is youth power action, or like pass it on to Casey?
Yeah, catch your breath. Catch your breath. Let Casey come in and we'll build on what you gave us so far.
Okay.
Y'all can relax. You got a few minutes. Relax. You home. This is a safe space for you. Okay.
That's right. That's right.
Come on,
Okay,
Casey.
can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Okay, great. Hi, my name is Casey Charrington. I'm a senior at Middlesex Legacy Charter High School. I found out about Youth Power Action actually through going to one of their events about sometime around last year, and they were basically just working on the Vote 16 movement, which is basically a movement that was created after the law was passed that now 16 and 17-year-olds could vote in the school board elections. Um, And ever since then, for me, it's been history. I've always been like really involved in civic engagement, always been fascinated with, youth empowerment and things like that. So I signed up to be a part of the Youth Power Action Steering Committee, and here I am. We are, I feel like the space is really beneficial because, like, of course, we have like adults, who give us the space to, have this coalition, but genuinely it's like it's for the students and it's by the students, it's for the youth by youth, for like things that we want that can benefit us. We do have like two main goals here, which is basically just we try to get the most youth turnout for youth engagement, and also just passing our policy addendums, which will help better the mental health state in schools and throughout our community and the school board.
I want to I want to really spend a good minute on your concern about mental health support, but also want to give the audience a picture of just how broad your membership and support is. There are quite a few that you got a decent number of young people in the Youth Action Project. How many students are involved with your set now? And either one of you can answer. Y'all could, just share the mic. It's all right. You're both muted.
I'm not actually sure of an exact number. I do know like the like youth power action started off like with the gem project, and there was
Mhm.
like a lot of youth, like the gem project has been going on for a really long time, so like there was a lot of youth that was like that's a part of gem project that's also part of youth power action. But like youth power action also have like a lot of like co-affiliates where and like there's a good amount of people on the platform. I'm not really sure of an exact number though.
Name some of the other schools that are involved in terms of your makeup. Some of the students that are involved with you. What other schools are they coming from?
I can tackle a few. I know we have students from American history. We have kids who go to Science Park, as you know. We have kids who go to Payne Tech that have been at our events. We have my school, Great Oaks Legacy, which is we do have people like staff at my school who are of partner affiliates with the GEM Project and Youth Power Action. We do have other surrounding schools, like, the Newark schools and things like that. But those are just to name a few that I can think of off the top of my head. We do have kids who are not only like just like school based, but also like organization based. Like we have like the Democratic Party of Students. We have members of that. We have people who are
Democratic
in
Party of
college.
Students. The
Yes,
Democratic
there
Party
is
of
a
Students. Tell us
Yes, there
about
is a student-led Democratic Party Association. One of our steering committee members, Hyro, he is the president of that. He's not here, unfortunately, and I wouldn't want to say anything that I'm not too informed about, but it is great. They're basically just they're a Democratic Party of high school students who advocate for democratic policy and things.
Okay, okay, okay. Now you have some partner institutions and stakeholders that support you also. You want to shout some of them out?
Shout out Great Oaks Legacy Charter High School because that's where I go, and that's how I found out about the event. They advocated for they actually made it a school trip incentive where like if we go to this youth power action event, we get that free day out of school to, you know, kind of get involved and learn about voting and voter registration, how to canvass and things like that. Shout out to Science Park because a lot of our participants usually come from Science Park High School, and a lot of our steering committee members go to Science Park High School. So shout out to Science Park. I don't know if Fatimata also wants to shout out anyone else.
And I'm talking about your allies and your steering committee.
Oh,
So
yeah.
your steering committee.
Yeah, just to build off of that, we do have like youth from like all across Newark Public Schools who are part of Youth Power Action. Also, it's not just Newark Public Schools, charter schools, the Essex County schools. We're also partners with like OYN, Complex Vision, Bard. We do have like a couple of partners.
Okay.
You know, I'm curious. I'm curious of two things. One is you know, how come this is the first time we're hearing about you all, right? So I'd like to know how long has Youth Power Action Network uh, been organized, and then how long has the Democratic Party of Students been organized? Because it seemed like to me you all should be partners with us. So I'm curious to know how long have you guys been around?
I mean, we've been around for a minute. Y'all must have not been tapped in, but we've
When you
like
say a minute, when you ain't but a minute old, so how
I mean, I guess we've like the GEM project and also Youth Power Action have been doing this for a long time. I've been going to board meetings since August. We've been in a couple of things. We've like the GEM project have hosted like events. They've done the Vote 16, which allowed youth to start voting like at school board or local elections, like starting at 16-year old. That we've been doing a couple of things that we've hosted school like events where it's like youth were able to talk to school board members and to interact with them, like not like school board members are also like school board member candidates, like people who wanted to like become a school board member. Like we've done forums where like youth can like directly ask them questions, and then like we can hear from candidate members directly so we can even know who we want to vote for. So we've been doing a couple of things. You guys can follow up and check in with us like by following the platform, by following Youth Power Action on Instagram, following the GEM Project on Instagram, and also our affiliates OYN and Complex Vision. Also, we have a platform on Mighty called the Youth Power Action where like youth can join. It's basically a platform where like youth can come together, post things like scholarships, different events they're hosting, opportunities. It's basically like an Instagram but like for youth empowerment, if that makes sense.
and when you say y'all been around for a minute, how many years?
But the GEM project has been around since 2006. It was founded by Amanda Ebacosia, and Youth Power
She's
Action did a
watching.
live launch
She's
just
in the
last
chat.
year.
She's here. She's watching.
Oh yeah, she founded it in 2006, and the Youth Power Action did a live launch early this year, like 2025.
So your Youth Power Action was started in 225 and 25. And the GEM project was started in 2006. Right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So absolutely love what you all, you know, are bringing forward. I mean, obviously this is our dream, to see young people who are politically engaged in making major political decisions. Have you guys endorsed anybody, you know, since you guys been around since 2006? Have you guys endorsed any candidates?
I can't, like I said, like I've only joined GEM Project early last year, so like I can't speak like for sure if there like if any candidates have been endorsed, but I'm sure no, because um I've also done canvassing with the GEM Project, and we were non like partial, like we remained pretty like not
Nonpartisan.
sure what yeah when it came nonpartisan sorry
It's all right.
when it came to like going out to the community and like encouraging people to vote.
And
Yeah,
talk,
I would just like, can I build on that?
yeah,
Sure.
go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to build on what Fatimata says. Ever since I've been in tune with Youth Power Action, now that I am a steering committee member, I think our biggest goal is not to endorse one person or try to push for the kids to know about this specific topic or this one thing. It's just to get the youth as informed as possible. That way they can make their own political choices. Because Youth Power Action isn't always going to be there to hold these kids' hands once they become 30, 25, all these different ages. So I think it's just to get them as politically informed and as involved as possible. That way they're able to venture out and make their own decisions based on what they want to see, because that's what we want. We want the youth to make their own decisions and make decisions that will benefit them and their community as best as possible.
Yeah.
What inspired y'all to actually take on this sense of responsibility and leadership that you're so passionate about? What got you flowing? Or who got you flowing? Who inspired you?
I'll start. I think honestly the inspiration really came from seeing other Youth Power Action members do their thing. Like like, my first time coming in contact with Youth Power Action was an event at the Water Coalition here in Newark sometime around last year, and ever since then I was just amazed by these informed youth. I didn't know much about the Vote 16 movement or even just youth political involvement. I've known about like social change, but I never like really understood the weight of youth political involvement. And I seen people my age educating other people who are my age about our voting rights, what it means to vote, the impact of voting, and it just ignited me to really get on that. Like, I wanted to learn how to canvas. I wanted to learn how to register my friends and how to make a bigger change in my communities.
Fatimata, what got you flowing?
Oh, I've like always been interested in like making an impact and like being able to like put myself out there and like be hands-on with my community and with people around me. For me, like this work is impactful and it's like not something abstract specifically with the movement. Like it's something I see as an everyday student. Like I've watched classmates struggle with stress, mental health, and feeling unsupported and like like feeling like if they speak up or like just with the youth in general, they feel like their voice or speaking up in general like wouldn't lead to a change. So and that's personally stuck with me. So it's like I want to be like I want to be that person where it's like I show my voice makes an impact and also like inspire other youth to like also use their voice to make an impact. And it's like for me it's just about making sure students like don't have to suffer quietly or like just get through school. It's about creating like systems where students like are actually asked about what's like affecting them, and for students who, because not everybody wants to come out and like speak out, everybody is different, so like just to create those systems where it's like students are supported and like they don't have to be the ones to just like go out and and speak up, like these systems are working for the students, if that makes sense.
Well, it makes plenty of sense. How are s- teachers in your relationships in your schools and adults in the community and your families? How are you being supported in what y'all are doing? And I think Casey has fallen off for a minute. She can certainly get back on if she can. Um, but you know how grown folks taking you? Are they giving you some respect and attention that y'all think you need?
Yeah, definitely. I think especially with the GEM project and like our like in our affiliates, like the GEM project has really, and YPA has been really big on like giving youth the platform and the tools they need to be able to do these things. Like this opportunity was given to me, like to speak here was given to me by Amanda, by the
Mhm.
GEM project. Like it's always been about like giving to like tools, like the youth tools they need to be able to speak out about the problems that they're facing. When it comes to going to board meetings, like I never really have to worry about transportation or like how I'm gonna get to all these different places. Like we're given transportation sometimes through shuttles, sometimes through Uber. Like I never had to be like, oh my god, I have to stay at this board meeting, like just leave school and then stay at this board meeting up until like 8, 9, or like 10 p.m. With no food, because like that is given to us. Like Amanda does provide us with the food. When it comes to help, like, or asking questions or like feeling supported, that's all given to us by the GEM Project and Youth Power Action.
Awesome. Casey, are you back?
Patience. I would just like to build on that because what Fatima said is totally true, and I feel the same exact way. I resonated with it so much because one time, I'm just gonna give y'all a little anecdote. One time we had it was our MLK Day event, and I was walking and it was like freezing cold that week. Like that week of like January 19th. It was very, very cold, and I think there was snow outside. And I was walking because my car broke down and my mom was at work, so I couldn't call her for Uber. But I really wanted to go to the city because I signed up. I am on the committee, so it's kind of my responsibility to be there. And I decided to walk this 3-minute walking until I can get there in time. And I called up and my ring a little late, and she said, "Girl, go pick that Uber." Like, she called me there. She told me to wait for her.
I don't think she can hear us. Casey, can you hear us? Your link, your sound got distorted for a minute. Do this. Go out and come back in. Use the same link, a different browser, and come back in because we want to make sure we heard what you said. Okay. Sometimes it's not you. Yeah, because she.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, just going out and come back in, right? And we'll keep chopping it up with Fatimatu, all right? Because we wanted to hear you. We wanted to hear you. You were really getting ready to tell a story, and we want folks to hear that. Let's start talking about this thing around mental health because that's and I know that's not the only issue that you focus on. Why don't you outline, Fatimatu, some of the issues that you are focusing on in addition to this question around mental health supports?
We also like have an addendum on school infrastructure. So it's not just like mental health, it's also about like, the physical space that students are in. Because like I personally think it goes hand in hand. Like how are you supposed to like, I guess, mentally feel comfortable in a space if you're not physically comfortable? So yeah, we do focus on school infrastructure too.
Do any of the schools stand out in terms of needs, in terms of your research?
I wouldn't say any specific, like there's like any specific schools. Like I do go to Science Park, and so like I would say like I'm privileged in that sense where it's like yeah, like I go to Science Park, but like I wouldn't say everything's perfect, but like I would say like I'm privileged in the sense where I go to Science Park and like I don't have to worry too much about like terrible infrastructure compared to like the older schools within Newark Public Schools.
That acknowledgement is important. It's important to acknowledge when you do have some privileges, you do have some benefits. All right. Okay. Now, how many times have y'all been to the board raising your concerns?
I've personally been speaking since August. I went to the board retreat and I've spoken there. I've also spoken to board members like over the summer, like July, around end of July. I've spoken to multiple the board members presenting like the KPIs and then like our ideas and our findings to see if like this is even something they'd be interested in, and also like to ask for feedback, like to see like creating that connection where it's like we're not just like demanding these things from you. We want your help. We want to be a part of that process. And then I went to I said the board retreat, and then I went to the first board meeting September, and I spoke. I went back October. I went back November. I don't think like we were able to, I was present, but I wasn't able to speak November. I went back December, and then also in January, and I'll be there again this month.
Now the board is in an interesting space because they too have elections coming up. You have concerns that you raise that have some time-sensitive dimensions. Do you want to tell us about what you would at least hope to extract or get from the board between now and the time of their next elections?
I'd say like we definitely want these addendums to get pushed and passed. We want like we want to see we want to see like these changes happening. We want to see their commitment to these addendums. And also when it comes to like the board meetings, we are planning a couple of things. I plan on doing like. I plan on doing voter registration. We do want to get we do want to get like the youth registered. We do want to get the youth out there to vote. We do want them to also be a part of this process, and also like know that their voice does matter, and like when like especially when it comes to these board meetings, like our board members, like they can make the change, and like they have the power to put these people into office, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. Now, Casey, you're back, and you were trying to tell us a story about what motivated you and who was supportive of you in moving into this leadership life that you're in right now. Why don't you try to retell us that story? We want to hear you, but your connection is better. We apologize for that.
No, it's fine. Thank you for the space to retell my story. Yeah, so basically one time, and it was MLK Day, and we had our MLK Day event, and my car broke down and my mom was at work, so she wasn't answering the phone to get me an Uber. And I called Amanda to let her know I'm gonna walk, but I'm running late, but I was walking and I would be there as soon as I can. And she literally made me stop walking, and she called me an Uber immediately and was able to get me to the event. She made sure I got home, and we went to the school board meeting. I was my very first school board meeting, and I watched all of my peers speak, including Fatima, and it was so inspirational. And not only was Amanda and Jenny and Percredi, who are the adults behind us in the Youth Power Action Coalition, but my peers, Fatima and like some of our other peers on the Youth Power Action Steering Committee, they were encouraging me to like speak, telling me about their experiences because they've been going to these school board meetings since August. And so I would just say, like, the Youth Power Action community as a whole, the adults and as well as our fellow youth, they really do try to encourage and make sure you're okay. Like we all got in an Uber together as kids, and we all went home together. Amanda and Jenny made sure we had food before we even went to the school board meeting. We got a shuttle bus there, and they made sure that we all got home nice and safely. So I think that they have done the best at showing me the support. I plan on speaking at the next school board meeting at the end of the month, and Jenny and Amanda have been so helpful, offering to help me with my speech and just make sure everything is good, that I'm comfortable when I do go speak. So yeah.
Very good. Awesome. Awesome. I'm glad you got to tell it, and I'm sorry about the tech and the garbling and all that that you had to go in and out on. Those are great stories. Tell us about your MLK event, and I'm saying that I represent the last generation of our community to actually have living memories of Dr. King, and so his ancestry has been vibrating with me a lot, and with some young people that I work with, I'm trying to convey the magnitude of his legacy for us, and it's very timely for us to be appreciating Dr. King, given what we're facing in this country now. Tell us about your MLK event that you just mentioned.
So the MLK Day event was basically just an event to, open up, I guess, the youth to what's been going on, like, like voter registration, canvassing, phone banking, all those things, because, the year had just started. So it was just a way to open up, just kick off the year with what our mission is and things like that. It was a couple hours long, and basically we had youth come in, we provided food, and then we went into segments of phone banking, registering, committing to registering. We did a lot of icebreakers and things like that. I'll let Fatimata talk a little bit more about it, because like I did mention, I did run a little late because of walking for a minute. So I'll let Fatimata tell you a little bit more.
Okay, so yeah, I'd like to say like the MLK event was like an event catered to getting the youth together and also getting all of this information out there and what we're doing. But I do think it was very it was very good to his legacy, if that makes sense. Like it also connected to his legacy because like when people think about his movement, like they often think about the big moments like the marches and like the speeches, but at its core, like his work was really about making systems more fair and more humane and more accountable to the people they serve. So like that's what this work is about too. And he was also really young when he was doing it. So it's like I do think like the
Wow.
MLK event and his legacy was like it was very significant and very important for like to youth like in general. And like he also talked about like the idea of like justice isn't just about like laws existing, like it's about like whether those laws actually improve people's daily lives. And for students, that's exactly what these addendums like are trying to do. Like it takes some big ideas like equity and dignity and voice and turns them into real structure, and how it affects the daily student experience at Newark Public Schools like in general.
I'm going to give y'all some resources that you may have been introduced to already or may not have. Right. The first is that I have a friend and comrade who's a little older than I am. Right, meaning that he don't know nothing about hip hop. Okay, that's how old he is. Right? But when he was your age, he began to do some things in this town as a student organizer coming out of Arts High School, and he's now considered a legend in social justice. And his name is Lawrence Ham. I want to set up something where y'all can interview him and have an intergenerational conversation with a legendary student organizer who became a leader in struggle in a very real way for a long, long time. Second, the question of voting and voting rights and voter mobilization is hugely important right now. And there's a sister who's I'm trying to get on this show. Her name is Barbara Arnwine, and she runs a project called Transformative Justice. And they get young folks like y'all and do voter education and mobilization all over the country. And they came into New Jersey a little while ago. They have these big buses, and they really have a real coterie of some very good organizers. And that too is a very intergenerational kind of thing. And then, there was the injection of young people into the civil rights movement came two ways. It came with an organization called SNCC, the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, right? And they started the sit-in movement in Greensboro, North Carolina in 1960. There's a website called the SNCC Digital Gateway. It's an online platform where you can learn something about the students that were important to the civil rights movement. And a very incredible, dramatic moment took place in 1963 with what was known as the Children's Crusade in Birmingham, Alabama. It was a very brave and dangerous moment for people in the civil rights movement. And it was a very telling moment for those young people who were involved in that. That's stuff I think that would really leave all of you very full in terms of what you're trying to do and trying to get a foundation for what you're doing. Now, let's come back to this heavy question that I'm very proud that y'all lifting up because it's an important question for your generation, like no other generation. This question about concern about mental health support. Tell us about that and why that's so important to you. You gotta unmute. And while you're unmuting and gathering your thoughts, the impact of the COVID pandemic did a lot on the mental health of the world in general, but it seemed to have a very serious impact on young people in this country. And I'm glad that you're speaking up about it. So I just wanted to layer the question as I asked you that. Tell us about why this whole question around mental health support is so important and so needed for students in schools right now.
I can answer the question from my perspective and then I'll pass it to Fatima when I'm done. But I think as you mentioned, the pandemic really did affect the mental health of the youth tremendously. And I think that is because during that time when we were all locked inside, I think some of us kids forgot how to be kids, you know. because we didn't have that freedom to go outside and play. Like, people like put down the phones and just go outside. My grandma always talks about how when she was little, there was no phones. All they did was go play outside and make dirt pies and stuff. But a lot of that was taken away from us because we were all locked inside. And I don't think that hasn't happened in a really long time, especially in America where everyone's just locked inside and can't really do anything. So I think a lot of us kids forgot how to be kids. And then when we came back, we were thrown into a setting that was much older than when we left. I went from being a sixth grader in middle school to being an eighth grader on my way to high school, applying to high schools. So, I kind of missed that transitional time period for me to learn how to be a kid and have the correct transition that I think kids do need and should have to navigate what it means to come of age and have that, like, what does it mean for me to be older? And I think that not only for the students, but I think it negatively impacted the education system and teachers because a lot of our teachers went out of a job during that time. A lot of teachers quit their jobs because people have to stock up on all these groceries and supplies and Uber Eats now and all these things. And teacher salaries, quite frankly, sometimes don't really make the cut for that. I know I have a lot of teachers who work 2 jobs and things like that. So during the pandemic, a lot of people were out of a job or just did not want to work anymore in the education system. And I think we lost a lot of those qualified adults or those adults who really had the care that they once had. I think a lot of teachers lost their passion during the pandemic and they were just doing it to keep the check coming. So, pardon me?
Wow. No, I'm
No. We're just impressed with the way you're telling the story.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm sorry.
You're
Okay.
dropping
So yeah,
jewels, granddaughter.
I think that a lot of a lot of adults and especially teachers, because teaching has always been a job where it requires passion and dedication to the students and to their craft. I think like you can't just be a teacher being overworked and underpaid and not have that passion. It won't work out for you. So I think during the pandemic, a lot of teachers were under supported, especially when they're trying to also just navigate this online classroom situation that they never had to know how to do before. So I think that but now when everyone's coming back, teachers have lost their spark. And I don't think that the teacher-esque, I guess, now is way different than it was back in the day. And I'm saying back in the day when I was born in 2008, but just like in history, like I don't think the teachers now are the teachers that there once was. And I think that when you have children who are undermotivated and they're confused, they're navigating all these things alone and they're in this space for 8 hours a day and told to just do ABC 1, 2, 3 all day and there's no time for how are you feeling or do you know how to handle your emotions, because I know you probably didn't get that development time during quarantine. And then you have the teacher in the room who's just like, I don't really care anymore, I'm just here to make some money because there's too much work, I have to reset and like remember how to now teach back in the classroom after being online for so long. I think, there's going to be a clash in those places. And no one ever teaches you about those clashes. No one ever teaches you how to, there's no guidebook for navigating child emotions or being a child trying to navigate emotions or being a child trying to navigate hardships, being a child where you're in the same place for at least 8 hours a day and there's no one saying, hey, how are you doing, are you okay? It's just do math homework. And I don't understand how we expect these kids to be in somewhere for 8 hours a day and then go home and do even more work and then still have time to be children. Our most developmental years, our most operational years were taken away from us. And I think that the world has not fully grasped what that means for the new generation of youth. It's very different than when one of our hosts here have grown up because they had those times were not taken away from you due to a pandemic that no one was expecting or could control. Because when I remember when I was in sixth grade, they told us we would be gone for 2 weeks. And then it turned into 2 years. And that is 2 years is a really long time for children to just be sitting in the house. So I think that we need to dedicate our time and our care to giving the youth the space to be youth. Even though we may be growing up and I think everyone just genuinely just expects us to be older, but a lot of us are just still those sixth graders who were told it's 2 weeks, even though it's been years after that.
Wow.
I really appreciate that. Fatima, to jump on in.
Yeah,
What do you
I agree with Casey. I do think like the pandemic has had like a huge impact on everyone, especially children. I do think like everyone, like mental health is important, like not just for kids, it's also like important for everyone. And like teachers aren't like trained in mental health. So it's like coming out of the pandemic, I know like the pandemic affected me personally in the sense where like I didn't know like I had no social skills. Like it took like being locked in a house for like 2 years took away so much from so many people. Like coming out, I lacked social skills. It took me like joining debates or like and other like programs like to like gain that back in a sense, but like I'm still feeling the effects from the pandemic. But at the same time, like what Casey was saying, like teachers aren't like really trained in mental health or or dealing with, like they're not mental health professionals. So like having to deal with students who like had this like huge event like happen to them, and then like also like navigating like their own mental health, like it would be hard. And like I was saying, like mental health is like support is like huge for students. It's not just gonna like impact the students. Increasing mental health support like impacts everyone. Like it will be a domino effect. If you're like helping out, like we're students, we're asking you to help us and give us the support we need for our mental health, but we're not, it's not just for us. Like it affects everyone. So like I'd say like it's not just about like classes or tests. It's like about like students showing up every day while like carrying everything like in your life, like stress, anxiety, family struggles, like trauma, and all of it like comes with us when we show up in school. Like it doesn't just disappear like when the school bell rings. Like having real accessible sport support means students don't have to like suffer quietly. It means someone is actually checking in on them, noticing when things are hard, like helping like before it gets to like this huge mental health crisis. It's like the difference between, like I said at the last meeting, it's like surviving school and being like and actually being able to thrive in a school environment. And like the mental health addendum support is like something like we created as youth, that and we're telling you it's something that would start and begin to help us.
Let me just say something to you both as we wind up. First, I want to say on behalf of all of us how terribly proud I am of all that you're doing, right? And I want to lift up your white papers, the work that you put in. What should have happened in this country is that there should have been a national conversation and a national study done on the impact of this pandemic on the country in general and on the various segments on the country, and particularly on our young people. That should have happened. And on behalf of the elders in our community, I want to apologize to you that that didn't happen. And I hope you continue in your own journey, in your own respective development, to be the generation of leadership better than the generation that failed you and then failed the country, I would dare say, on this particular front at this particular time. That was really loaded, and I really appreciate it. And I'm a girl dad that had a girl that had a daughter who struggled in her own way, and is with that impact on her mental health. Being fully transparent, right? None of us are immune to these kind of things, and it wasn't just young folks having mental health issues either, right? It was a lot. It was a harsh change, and if you already have some pre-existing challenges that are not being healthily supported, those things compound, and bad things can become worse. And you know that we had spikes in violence in the home, spikes in violence in the streets. You know, all of that stuff was a part of what happened during that very challenging and very unique time. So I just wanted to appreciate you. Now we just had another famous leader who once upon a time won 3 or 4 elections as a grown person, and it was the top vote getter in all of her elections. This is former councilwoman of Orange, New Jersey, Donna K. Williams. And she might look like an old head because she's over.
No.
She's a hip hop.
Hello, how are you? How are you ladies doing?
Donna, say something to the kids and ask them.
I'm saying, how are you doing?
I'm good.
I came in as you were filibustering the talk show. Have you ever heard of Congressional Black Caucus Foundation. So yeah, both of you look up is CB, like Congressional Black Caucus Foundation. So CBCF Foundation, and look those up. They just put their scholarships out for different programs, and if you have, well, your future is before you, so you have your future. So look into their scholarships and fellowships, because it gives you opportunity to work on the Hill, and meaning DC. So look them up and look up the requirements, and I'm sure they have a lot available that you will find it very interesting. And a lot of times the different schools go down to DC. So look it up, and I'm sure you'll find it interesting. And please come back. And don't wait for us to call you. Give us a call and let us know if there's more that you would like to talk about. Did we get to ask the question?
Go ahead and ask him, Donna. Lots of time. You're right on time.
So this is a hip hop political show. When you're doing the work in school or in your community or wherever you may be doing, I know community service is a part of work that you have to do. Is there a hip hop group or individual that you listen to that keeps you inspired? Y'all are both muted.
Yeah, I was trying to say something. You're muted, granddaughter.
I was just thinking, I wouldn't say, I don't think I listen to a lot of hip hop. I do listen to I would say I listen to a lot of different types of music.
Okay.
But I do listen to a lot of older music, but also Afro beats and stuff like that, because I am African. I'd say,
who's your favorite Afrobeat artist?
I don't really have any favorite artists, but I do listen to I listen to Burna Boy, I listen to Rema, I listen to I listen to a lot of different people, but I also do listen to a lot of older songs. I listen to Lauryn Hill, I listen to Beyonce, I listen to Kendrick Lamar, I listen to J. Cole. I listen to a lot of different types of music.
So for all the hip hop you don't listen to, you just named several. Are you Nigerian?
No, I'm not Nigerian. I'm Guinean and Senegalese. Okay. I don't listen I wouldn't say because I listen to a lot of that much modern hip hop, if that makes sense.
Okay. Well, no, everybody you said is a great artist in their own right.
Casey, who you got? Who you listening to?
You're muted.
Can you guys hear me?
Now we can.
Okay. I gotta be honest, I cannot hear y'all, but it's okay. I'm gonna just let y'all know, and I'm gonna read y'all facial expressions to see the reactions. But
okay.
As I'm a hip hop girl. I love hip hop. I love the culture, R&B, hip hop. That's kind of my thing. I am a Caribbean girl, though I'm not.
Where your mother from?
Fully African American. I do claim to be African American, though. But I'm my father's parents are both immigrants. My mother, my mom's mom is Native American, and her dad is Panamanian. So I do have some roots in other places, but I was born here. I rep here. I'm a Black girl. I think some artists that I think are inspiring. Honestly, I think Tupac is a great activist. When people say Tupac or Biggie, as a girl from Brooklyn, New York, I always have to say Tupac, only because he was more than just a rapper. He was an activist. He was a poet. He was a feminist, in my opinion. Just throw that in there. So I feel like I do resonate with his music sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes I definitely do feel like he always had a purpose for the things that he was saying. I think J. Cole was another one. I feel like he's just for the culture, and he's all for Black empowerment and things like that, and just people being authentically themselves. Love Lauryn Hill to death. And some new people as well. I like to see even just smaller artists. I like when I get to see the youth coming up and doing things and trying to become rappers, especially now. Everybody want to be a rapper right now, and honestly I'm all for it. I love seeing people figure out new talents and make things out of themselves. I said, a lot of those childish years taken away from us. So just seeing people like still having that immature aspect to them, it's really fun to see, and like that creativeness that I think we missed out on for a couple of years. So yeah, that's basically what I'm into.
Okay, well, thank you. Y'all both had great artists, so thank you. And like I said, don't be a stranger, but please take the time and look up CBCF Inc.org and just see, you know, if the scholarships they're offering is something that you're interested in. So I think it'll be something that you'll find very enlightening and enjoyable. Okay.
I opened up a conversation on your webpage, and I put the webpage in the chat. And everything that I shared with you, I'm going to share with you on your webpage. So look for that on your webpage contact list, and I'll include what Ms. Donna just added as well with the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation. She used to take us on trips down there, and it's quite a good trip. So let's look forward to. You guys, it's been great. Thank you.
Yes.
Right.
Thank you so much for inviting us here.
To go to our page on YouTube. All Politics, the letter R, local on YouTube, this date, this time, and they can check you out. Okay.
And reshare it. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having us on here. It's been a great time. I'd also like to say a couple of things, like for people out there who wants to support us, I'd say like to join Youth Power Action, to host like canvassing. There's a bunch of canvassing opportunities for for youth to go out there and and get people registered to vote. Like to also join phone baking. I'd also like youth. There's if you join the Youth Power Action platform, it's open to all youth. I think from 14 or 16 up until 24 can join the platform, where there's a bunch of opportunities for scholarships and different job opportunities. There's so much on the platform.
Put that up in the chat. Yes, you did.
Yeah, there's so much things on the platform. There's also an opportunity to host a voter drive at your schools. And then I also tell everyone who's watching this and who can to come to the board meeting February 26th and to support the March 28th Youth Summit.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you so much for having us on here.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for showing up. Yes.
Keep doing what you're doing. The support is here. They were great. That was awesome. And now we are going to transition, and somebody's got to bring him in, whoever's on the controls. Right?
Naseed Gifted.
Bring in our great master of Afrofuturism himself, the great Naseed Gifted. Bring him in. Where you at? Somebody's back there. He said he's back there. I don't know who's controlling the controls to take
It's time for the Wakanda Ball again.
Yes, exactly right.
It's time for Wakanda.
Mm-hmm. And if somebody would just bring him in, we'd be okay.
Let's see.
While
we're waiting for him to come in during the hot topics, did you talk about Bad Bunny?
No, we didn't get a chance to talk about that.
You didn't get the chance to talk about how we were talking about all year.
We talked about
Kendrick Lamar all year. Now we're talking about Bad Bunny. And how
them crazy white folks couldn't take that.
Yeah, it's too much. And 2 years, too much, huh?
They could.
Well, it's interesting because, of course, like before, Rutgers has done a curriculum. They have Bad Bunny 101 at Rutgers, so on a Puerto Rican diaspora. So that's something that's come out of it, and students, and that was put forth by students, and they came, they wanted, to help the larger community understand the Puerto Rican diaspora, and so they're doing this. This is the second time that they'll be teaching it at Rutgers. So,
really,
yes.
All right. Let's say right on to that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who's on the controls. We need to get him on.
Okay.
Yes. Access to the controls. for somebody. We need to bring the brother on. I don't know what's happening. Dellwanna's all
I'm calling now.
okay. While that's happening, I want to acknowledge that we want to have the two. I think Dellwanna is in the background too. Let me just see. Della, you okay with coming back at 7:45? If she is, we can do that because they got the times mixed up, and I know I know you're both juggling a lot. Okay, cool. All right. So when we get Mr. Naseed in, we can get that taken care of. Donna, let me ask you this. Then
Yes.
I don't be too overly personal with this. You can answer any way you see fit. What does Black Love Day, Akoma Day, Valentine's Day, Wakanda, all of those things being brought together as these folks are trying to bring it together? What does that mean to you? What comes to your mind when you think of that, when you hear that?
Well, for me, it's funny because I've been listening to Urban View and they were talking about Black love, and I wanted to talk a little bit. Laree specifically was talking about what she's going to be on Black Love Day. And it was a real interesting conversation through a Sankofa circle. She's going to bring forth taking her radio listeners to a more intimate circle where they can talk about issues in our community and building community more, and just realizing that in these challenging times where nobody owns these airways, and probably getting back to basics, more intimate places of talking, round tables, and not and while we're here talking and using all of this technology, sometimes because we don't own the rights to all of these, that we can be cut off at any time, that we have to get back to spaces that we have more control over. So building community.
Well, let me just share this, and I shared it on Facebook. There's a shard, and I want to get her on here too. I haven't even think to ask her yet. All right, but in the land of filmmaking, there's a sharp sister who out of New Orleans named Stacy Muhammad, and she's had her hands on a lot of different projects. And for the weekend, she created this montage of the different film and television projects that have captured love in one long 3-minute flow, right?
Okay.
It was beautiful. She's
Is she capturing movies or just stills, or what is she?
Oh, this is all for motion picture stuff. Everything. Okay. I think she did several episodes of Queen Sugar. She did stuff from Cross. She did, she's got a range of spaces that she's touched, and she's also a part
of Love Jones.
Yeah, that was in there. That was in there. Oh, we got it. Very good.
There's Naseed. Hey, Naseed.
Yeah. So on my page, y'all look at this montage that this incredible young filmmaker is doing. She's really putting in some good work for Black love. Having said that, we've got the host with the most, the chief architect of Afrofuturism in the whole city of Newark, the great Naseed Gifted, has joined us. What's going on, beloved?
Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings. Thank you guys for always having me, being welcoming. Before I even start, man, I want to give a big shout out to those young people. Casey and Fatimata. Fatimata is one of mine, so I definitely want to give her some love and everything. And I love the passion that
you said she was one of yours, Naseed?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
One of mine. And that passion she brings to the classroom, she brings to to the environment, and she's a stand-up individual who wants to make sure that the Black voice is heard, so big shout out to her, and both of them, for being able to have the courage to stand up, to talk about the ills that's going on, with their peers and everything, but also in the system holistically.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Praise the teachers, right?
Yeah, no, definitely,
Y'all,
definitely.
that's the fruit of your labor coming forward.
Oh,
And we
man.
really looking forward to the emergence of their leadership, because we certainly hope they do better than the hell we did. I'm gonna
Oh
make
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, with the know-how and the energy and the resources, because it's a difference with the amount of resources that they have these days, man. I think they could definitely go far, because of the one thing that we didn't have is the reach that these young people have, and they can be able to connect worldwide. When we were doing stuff locally or nationally, I mean, and things like that, and it's in the minute, in real time and everything, where sometimes we had newscasts and newspapers and everything that gave us the news, but it was a delay, in which we were receiving the information. So that's something. That's definitely something.
So tell us, you got this incredible ball coming up tomorrow.
Yes,
Tell everybody,
yes.
tell everybody
Is this the third annual?
This is actually this is the third. Yeah, this actually is the
Third annual? Wow,
Yes, this is
sounds
the third,
long.
because
I
this would have
couldn't
been the
remember
fourth
you.
this year, but we actually had a delay.
Mhm.
Man, I love my black people, but but
Organizing our folks is a trip.
we last minute with everything, what I'm saying? So, we plan this thing out, in anticipation and everything. But, I've been getting phone calls all day, back and forth and everything, oh, can I get a ticket? Can I
Last
get,
minute stuff, yes.
last minute,
Mhm.
and it's funny, people will get the outfits before they even get a ticket. So,
Listen.
But what we're doing with the Wakanda Ball is a Black love story. We're going back to ancient times of Asar and Aset, where that is one of the first Black love stories. Just tracing through our history, where Set traveled the world to collect the pieces. And if you don't know the story, definitely
Yes.
look that up.
No. Take a minute.
Of Asar.
Take a minute to sum up the story. Because a lot of folks don't know it, and it's a great story.
Yes, yeah, no, it definitely is a great story, but we talk about Black love throughout time, throughout history, and we're commandeering this V-Day, and we want to be able to talk about Black love, because we want to be able to love ourselves, love community, and Afrofuturism. So, we talk about, the now and then the future, like how do we impact the future, just by being able to love ourselves, knowing ourselves, and being able to push forward, with that. I mean, and that's where the Wakanda Ball kind of comes into, where we try to make sure that you step through a portal in time where, as you walking through the mythical land of Wakanda, that's it. And supporting a great cause, because this is our fundraiser to be able to fund a number of our STEAM and STEM initiatives. And I know you would talk about film. They're calling Newark now, Hollywood East, right?
That's
Because
right.
of all of the things that's happening, all of the different opportunities that's coming forth. But we also got to be very intentional about making sure that the people that live in this community that look like us are going to be able to take advantage of those opportunities that's going to be coming, and the millions and millions of dollars that's going to be flowing into this region. So I mean, that's where ChemFest comes in. That's what we're trying to do with the Wakanda Ball. We're trying to make sure that we're not consumers. We are creators and innovators within these spaces, and taking your passions within animation, gaming, and comic book creation, and be able to tap into those STEM and STEAM jobs that are available out there, and that our community don't know enough about. So we're trying to bring focus to that, and we're trying to do that through love, right? Through love.
And Naseed, when is the Wakanda Ball?
So the Wakanda Ball is happening tomorrow on V-Day, but we're commandeering that day to, like I said, talk about, a coma, right? Which is a symbol, when we talk about heart, it's a symbol of love, goodwill, patience, faithfulness, fondness, endurance, and consistency. So that is something that we need within the Black community and the Black and Brown community, and we want to be able to raise awareness around that, so, it's an opportunity, like I said, to go through a portal and transfer yourself into a universe where, you're loved by not only yourself, loving yourself, but being loved by community. And then also looking into the future of what that love could be and what that love could manifest.
That's right. And everything. And so are there tickets still available? If people have their outfit but no ticket, what should they do?
Well, technically we are definitely we are sold out. So,
Beautiful.
The good fortune, we have sold out event. We actually have some it's called last minute tickets that we trying to make sure you get in the door type thing, and a part of that is because we had we're serving food. You can come. We have room for you to come into the venue, but there was a food. There was food and drink and everything that was allotted for the individuals that were coming. So we had to account for that. So we don't want people to come in and then have an expectation of sit down eating when there won't be no food for them. So
that's right.
That's what we are.
Okay.
Are there any designers that are being spotlighted in particular that have an Afrofuturistic aura about their designs?
Oh, I didn't even get into the activities, but when you walk in, right, you're going to go through the violet vortex. That's going to be the portal. That's our catwalk. Everything is symbolic of, royalty, so you're going to go through a violet carpet. We don't do the red carpet. We don't do any of that stuff. You're going to go through the violet carpet. That's the vortex. As you come into
violet
that,
is a very regal color, by the way, too.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, go ahead, beloved. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. We talk about royalty because that's where we come from, right?
Yes,
so
sir.
So we're very intentional with all of this stuff. So once you get into that portal, we're going to be able to capture that. Of course, you get to step and repeat. And then, of course, we'll have opening ceremonies where we have the opening the gateway to the ancestors. So we always do the opening gateway to the ancestors where we do libations. And then we're going to do a trans portal through time, through our drumming. And then to answer your question, ancient African former Amanata, she is sponsoring our Future is Black fashion show that's going to be happening at the Wakanda Ball, man. So, we're super excited about that. She's going to be showing her wares. A lot of people, I don't even know if she's in the shop now, still, finalizing some designs and everything for everyone, because she got the models and she was doing, outfits for individuals that's coming to the Wakanda Ball. Because one of the things that, and I always think about the principles of Kwanzaa. We got cooperative economics, we got Emoja, we got Kuji Chakalia, we got all of the principles embedded into this one particular event. And that's why, Sister Amanata, is the sponsor for the fashion show, but she's also doing the outfits. She also provided some of the prizes for the best dress competition and everything, because she actually has the soaps and the jewelry and all of this stuff. So all of the stuff that we are giving away are, from Black-owned businesses. We have source of knowledge that is provided in our archives to document, our history. So we have a number of ads that we'll be auctioning off during the event. We got Divine Creations that are going to be selling the various jewelry and everything like that. So, it's going to be a whole inclusive event. Oh, and I'm sorry, Get Face photography will be capturing, the moments and the photos, and then Wave God Photography will be doing the videography for the event. So, we just, just want to be all inclusive and everything, and shout out to all of them for, stepping up, and especially Express Nork. Express Nork is our event sponsor. Those individuals over there, Stefan, Natasha, and Pat, who, allowed us to be able to accommodate this space to be able to bring this to the city of Newark.
I gotta add, now I gotta get political for a second. Right? We are in a crazy as hell, hostile, culturally hostile political environment.
Yes.
Based on
we
what's
are.
happening on the national stage. Have you seen that impact on the work that you do on your students, right? On the in our broader community of carrying culture and creativity, or and then I hope this is the answer, is our grasp of culture and art serving as a buffer from the harm and the hate that's coming from that crazy energy? Talk to us.
So I'm seeing it all, right? And there's a lot of healing that needs to happen, for what's happening with, the current administration, ICE and everything, that is affecting our student population directly. I've known some of our young people who were directly affected by that, and I won't, confidentiality, I won't get into anything, beyond that. But that is definitely an impact. So now we need healing, we need love, we need to be able to, circumvent all of this stuff, because, just like the phoenix, we rise from the ashes and everything. And to be able to do that, we need to be able to see a future where things are different, right? And the only way to be able to do that, we need to be able to imagine. We need to be able to put ourselves in that future sense and predict and show what that future could look like. So I'm always about backwards design, right? So we show them what that future could be, and then we backwards map and see how we get there, right? So even with the idea and planting the seed, just like they did, with our ancestors of talking of one day being free, those type of things are seeds that's planted for the generation that is current, for the next generation of creators and innovators and everything. And that's something that we definitely need to be able to do and push forward, with our young people.
And I know, I am so grateful for the arts, how they are really good at putting in front of us what maybe society won't see. I can think, for so long how you would see, well before there were a lot of black judges, you would see so many black judges portrayed in art and movies. And I think at one time art was very purpose in doing that, and to the point that, you see it, a lot more common than it was, 10 years ago. And I know as a teacher in our area that you work with a lot of students that are Latino, and I would love to see how, or hear, even if you were able to hear the fact that they hold a whole 15 minutes that was Spanish from beginning to end, and with no subtitles, where everybody else needed subtitles, how was, what type of feeling was that? And I know I'm seeing clips of it where people, where a lot of students are crying and things like that, because to see yourself portrayed is a very big, and people take that for granted, of course, but I think it's really, really, so thank God for art, for doing things, or putting out there what we need to see. And I hope art continues to do that. I'm sure they will, but.
Oh no, definitely. And I mean, and I just take the analogy of, just something real simple. When you take a selfie, right? And then you show it to the audience, the first thing that they're looking for is themselves in the picture. You know what I'm saying? They ain't looking for nobody else. They looking for themselves in the picture. So they always are looking to see where they are within the bigger scope of everything that, that they're doing. And that's why certain media, resonates with certain individuals, because they can see themselves within that, particular thing. If it's a narrative, if it's a film, if it's animation, if it's, a video game, any of those things, it resonates with them because they can relate to it and see themselves in it.
And shout out to the Winter Olympics. You just had a black sister, I think she's from Ohio, who played ice hockey, and she was the first black sister to score a field. And I think they were just talking about her on the radio today, And here we are.
Where's she from?
Ohio, I believe.
Oh, you said, okay, all right.
Yeah.
No, that's powerful. That's powerful.
Yeah. Ice hockey.
We need to see ourselves in all these spaces,
Yes.
And be able to shine a light on it,
That's right.
Because once we're given, and that's one of the things I learned about working with young people, once you expose them and give them opportunity, they thrive beyond compare. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
They just take the opportunity and run with it, and I think about, the opportunities for, higher education and everything like that. And when we got on a level playing field, or was allowed access to a level playing field, and how we were able to strive and thrive, through that, and that's just, and that's just our history. We are able to exhibit pride in everything that we do. And that pride is perseverance, resilience, integrity, determination, and above all, excellence in everything that we do.
And you know what else? It's so funny, Naseed. There was a case that just came out where a student was, I think he's in college, and he was removed. He was on a spectrum, and he did a paper, and the teacher said it was AI, and they put him, out of school because, they said that it was AI and that he possibly couldn't do it. He possibly couldn't have done the paper, and his family took it to court, and he prevailed because it wasn't AI. And it's funny, and they're talking about how, how AI is kind of getting ahead of itself because it can't be creative. It can only mimic. It cannot be creative. And like the parent said, you had been this student's teacher, so why were you shocked that this student, could do so well when you have been teaching this student all along? So yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. Well, it's the level of expectation, and sometimes it's the lower level of expectation.
Yes. Exactly.
Great Sam Anderson is one of my teachers in the Black Panther Party, who's a math and tech whiz. Brother's a genius. It's on top of being just a good human being and radical organizer. Said we need to be telling our kids African intelligence trumps artificial intelligence every day. So just put that in your what you call them things. They don't smoke pipe. What they call them things that them kids be smoking today.
What?
You know what I'm talking about, the damn things.
The blunts?
No. They got these new things they inhale.
Black and Miles?
No.
You're talking about the vape pens. The vape pens.
Vape.
That's right. That's vape on some of that.
No, don't tell them to vape. Vape is horrible.
Vape for your future, vape and believe in your own intelligence. So listen, now having said that, now what are you seeing now in terms of recent treatments and contributions to Afrofuturism? There was an opera done on Malcolm for a little while ago.
Yes.
That had an Afrofuture dimension. What are you seeing that folks should be looking at as we try and continue to expand our minds on that front?
There's a number of things. I literally just came from Philadelphia, African American Museum in Philadelphia, where Ruth Carter has a phenomenal exhibit.
A legendary designer. Go ahead.
That's right.
Yes, has a phenomenal exhibit in and a lot of people have known her recently. You've seen her work, but you just don't know the package of or the history of all of the films that she was a part of. I mean, Do the Right Thing, to Selma, to she's done the costume designs for I'm Gonna Get You Sucker, of course, and then of course the latest, which kind of put her on the map, which would have been Black Panther and Wakanda Forever, and then Sinners. Like that exhibit was so inspirational because, I mean, she's done The Butler. Like a lot of people don't even know her collection of films that she was a part of. And the one thing I thought about when I appreciated is that Spike Lee had her. Then you had John Singleton. Then now you have Ryan Coogler. Like all of these individuals, gave her the opportunity.
They brought her in.
And what she did, she strived and thrived, of course, with all of that. So all of this stuff that you saw in Malcolm X, from in Spike Lee, that was her designs. Like all of that stuff right there was her vision. And the amount of research that she put into her character designs for the costumes and stuff, man, the palettes and everything. I mean, man, when you see the exhibit, you'll be blown away. And then they actually have a short film that just kind of chronicle of all of the different films that she was a part of and stuff. So I mean, that's something. But there's a number of individuals out there, Yatasha Womack, Tim Fielder, and there's another number of other individuals who are doing some phenomenal work out there. And and it's a brother, oh man, and his name is escaping my mind right now.
Well, tell us as you think about it, who designed that hoodie you got on, and what's the significance of that hoodie?
Oh yeah, this is my brother Sean Sawyer. He produces hoodie. Black History, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, 24/7, 365, man. We were talking about, we are Black History, and Black History is.
And that's the black, the red, and the green.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It is.
Nice.
It's all walking symbolism.
Yeah.
Actually, me walking with this hoodie got him 3 sales today.
Well, that's what it's about. That's what's up.
I can dig that. Our great friend, Principal Baruti Kafele, his son, Little Baruti, had his own line of clothing for a minute, and it was Kemetic and Afrofuturist. You never saw it? He just got his master's and is on his way to his PhD.
Yes.
I haven't seen Little Baruti.
So that
he had his jackets, he had his wear. Kaba Kamene is good with that too.
Mm-hmm.
He's good with that in terms of and he makes his own stuff. He's very good with that in terms of his own style and whatnot.
As I was thinking about that, I know we had spoken about some time ago the Malcolm X Shabazz Market in New York, and that was the topic of the news today that it's moving.
Got a new address.
Yes.
Got a new address in Harlem. I don't have it in front of me. But yeah, it is now indoors, right? And apparently, from what I understand, it's being well received in its new address as well. I could that actually started years ago on 125th Street.
That was Mart 125.
Mart 125, and WLIB used to broadcast from the Apollo.
Right.
I remember because I was out of work for a minute during that.
Yeah.
But I would hang out, at 125 with no money, right? After Gary Bird in person at the Apollo. But
and Yeah, thinking about Naseed, how he was just talking about all the different artists, and I was thinking of a place like Mark 125 would be the type of place you would just walk around and just see everybody's different designs and things.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the new space too. I haven't had a chance to get over there to appreciate the new space. I forgot.
Are you talking? We talking about the Studio Museum in on 125?
No. There was a mart. There literally was a mart called Mart 125,
Okay.
right in the center of the block,
Gotcha.
some years ago.
And all design and different designers would get like a, like it was like a union market, if you will.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like that.
Well, actually, where those folks came from at 125, they used to be outside on the street.
Yep.
And I don't know if you all remember.
Right. That's right. Ed.
When Giuliani became the mayor, what he did was he got them off of 125th Street. So what happened was they moved them down on some other street, like 116th Street. Then they moved them back into 125.
Yeah.
And then it became that spot right across from the Apollo Theater. Downstairs, of course, was all of the vendors. But upstairs we had all the African food markets, which was spectacular. You can go get your vitamins. You could go get your juices squeezed. You could go get your curry chicken and African food. It was really like going to a cultural village, right? And then also even Mosque Number 7 had a store in there, so you could get all the latest tapes and CDs on Minister Farrakhan. I mean, it was really, really a dope place, man. So I mean, it would be great if we could bring something like that back for young people.
Yeah, I want to see how the new space is, and I hope it's getting supported. The initial, response was very positive that I've seen so far. I got to go see it firsthand real soon.
Yeah, let me just say peace to my brother, man. Welcome, brother Naseed, to the show, my brother.
Well, thank you. Definitely appreciate you guys having me. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
You're good.
I don't know if you had a chance. I don't know if you had a chance to catch some of them young people, man.
Oh, he did.
Huh?
One of the students.
One of those students was his.
Yeah, one of them was mine. I'm claiming it.
Yo, man, I told Zaid, I just can't believe we didn't know nothing about these people, man.
Yeah. And we got it's a few more of them too.
Yeah. Well, we gotta bridge a gap with them because they definitely the future around politics and activism and so forth. So we definitely want to make sure we build a bridge with some of your students, brother.
Yeah, you said, how do you pronounce it's Fatma? How do you pronounce her name? Yeah, you said, and Naseed said she brings that same energy to class.
Oh yeah,
I'm impressed.
Oh yeah,
you can tell.
Yeah, they're good skills. That's good to see, man. When the kids get it right, that really is heartwarming. Donna, you want to ask our brother the ritual question?
Yes, Naseed, as you prepare for this ball tomorrow, what hip hop artist, individual, or group are you listening to in your earbuds as you do everything from putting the last touches on all the way to putting your whole garb on? Who you listening to?
So I'm listening to AJ McQueen. Then I got to jump into some, a little Kendrick. And then on the Afrobeat side, I'm listening to some Tim's.
Okay. All right. Well, we wish you tremendous success and come back. And I know you just said you had somebody doing the whole the filming and everything, and bless us with a collage of everything.
Oh yeah.
One of these years, man, we're gonna have to go down and go live from that spot, man.
That'd be incredible.
We might even consider doing that with some of your incredible students.
Hey, now that'd be powerful. So just so you can plan, September is when we're doing Kim Fest. So just put that on the calendar.
Okay. I think we may think about doing that, man. And working.
Let me put this in your ear. September is also the anniversary of John Coltrane, the centennial anniversary of John Coltrane. Let your creators amongst you have a ball with that.
Yeah, that's powerful. That's powerful.
All right, y'all.
Who was just somebody just talking about trombone shorty today?
All right. Well, thank you guys once again.
But thank you
for showing the love.
And Naseed, I wish you good sleep. Good sleep afterwards, because I'm sure you won't be sleeping until everything is done. So
this is true. This is true. And I got an early morning tomorrow.
No, that's right.
A late night and early morning. Well, wish you blessings, brother, and keep doing what you're doing. And thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you, guys. Peace.
Oh, look who we got here. Miss Dell, is that you? You all right? You able to catch your breath? Aaliyah, you all right?
Yes, I'm all right.
You'll be helping everybody catch their breath. Got to make sure you catch your breath.
Look, I love Naseed's work. I'm so glad y'all. It's good to see.
Yeah, I'm so proud of that little brother. Oh my goodness, yes.
This work is powerful.
Yes.
Yes, it's good to see y'all today. It's good to see y'all.
Nice to be seen. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Now,
make sure you're off mute.
Aaliyah Berry is our street corner therapist, and who has been here before. But I'm very proud and excited to introduce Miss Dell, Queen Mother Dellwanna Miller of the Patterson Healing Collective. When you think of the Patterson Healing Collective, you think of a sea of young Black men who've been through some changes, trying to get out there in the streets and clean some things up, and who also, in the face of them doing their incredible work, lost one of their own. But there's the Patterson Healing Collective is fully and multi-dimensional in its makeup and its character, and some of the programs that it does not get some of the attention is what we wanted to bring to attention today. Ms. Dell, as she is affectionately known within the ranks of that important healing and support space, is out in front of an important support group for mothers, Black and brown mothers who have lost young people to violence. And there's another group that's emerging. That's, what's the name of it? Say it for me, Ms. Dell. I'm about to say it wrong. I'm about to stumble all over my own lips and big mouth and all that.
Miss Dell, you're muted. We can't hear you.
Yeah, you unmute. But it begins with an S.
The Voices Collective.
Okay.
Thank you, Leah.
Yes.
That's more like, sister and brother.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So clarify.
The Sisterhood Squad is our moms group, and the Voices Collectives is going to be our siblings group that's starting the end of the month.
Beautiful. Okay.
So Ms. Dell.
I'm sorry, you were breaking up some.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay, all right. I want you to tell from the vantage point of your own experience and commitment, the Patterson Healing Collective story, how you come to be a part of the Patterson Healing Collective story, and why what you're doing is so important and so timely and an important arm of the Patterson Healing Collective. And Aaliyah, you can just jump in and help in any way. You're the helping professional. You know how to help. You just jump in anyway.
Right. So, where do I start? So I've been with Patterson Healing Collective since its inception, but working there full time for the past 3 years. I actually met Dr. Chowdhury, who I affectionately call Sis, 10 years ago, after losing my own son. I lost my son, Jalik, who we affectionately call Juice, who you guys actually see in the background behind me.
Yes.
to gun violence in Patterson, where he was born and raised. The epitome of being at the wrong place at the wrong time. So, and then after going through everything that I was going through for about a year and a half, I literally walked into a classmate one day, and she was like, "Dell, I don't know if I would do it if it was me." And that was in September, and in December it was her. So, I kind of went on a Facebook tangent, if you want to call it that, where I was just kind of like, enough is enough. Within that year and a half, we had lost so many in Patterson. And it was just like a mom that's just like, I'm tired of it. Like, I'm tired of hearing about other mothers that have to experience this, and who's on board with me to fight this fight out in the community and do this myself. We would do called Occupy the Block, where we would just share my story of being a mom now without my son. And my motto is, if I could take away one gun, I've already saved 2 lives. And that's the life of the person shooting and the person that's shooting.
That's right.
And so Lisa was on board with me. And in November of that year, I and my sister, which is my support group for moms and dads who've lost kids to violence and gun violence, came to play. And I was kind of like doing the work, but not working on Ms. Dell. And a few years later, when Patterson Healing first started, Lisa came to me and asked me did I want to do the work. And I was honest with her. I was like, no, I'm not ready. Like, I'm not ready. And then 3 years ago, she introduced me to Aaliyah. And Aaliyah invited me along. Her and I worked together for our very first paint-a-plate for the moms at PAC. And then from came the sisterhood.
When, if you had to pinpoint a space, time, and persons, right? When did it, really begin to click for you that, in addition to just, speaking out and not being settled with what happened to you and your family, that you needed to actually do something for yourself, and that was okay for you to do something for yourself?
Oh, I wish she wasn't breaking up, because I'm like, that's such a good question.
Yeah, is she frozen? Yeah.
I'll add a little bit, but
it broke up mid-question.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe switch to the phone. I don't know.
Go out and come back in
the phone.
Yeah, or a different browser. Yeah. And see if you get a better connect, because we were about to get on a roll.
But I'm a yes. That question right there, Baba. That's I need her to answer that first.
It's okay. Go out and just come back in.
But in the meantime, I will add on to a little bit of what she said. So by way of introduction, I mean, she introduced herself. My name is Aaliyah Berry. Y'all know me already, but I'm a licensed community-based social worker in Newark, New Jersey. 25 years experience, working with ages 0 to 75 in group homes, shelters, schools, correctional facilities, a bunch of different places. And while I'm based in Newark, 3 years ago, I then came over to Patterson, and they stole my heart. So Patterson is my favorite cousin. So I work with Patterson Healing Collective as their, in-house clinician, wellness specialist. So I do one-on-one therapy, staff wellness, because let me just say that the neighborhood heroes, that is the Patterson Healing Collective, they carry a lot because they are small and mighty. So they need to be well too. And that's including Ms. Dell. But then we run grief groups. And so to Ms. Dell's point, we, did this paint-a-plate event, which essentially paints a plate for your lost loved one, so that that person can be memorialized at the holiday dinner table. And we had a bunch of moms come to that, and then it was very clear that they needed space, and they needed regular space. And Ms. Dell, I'm sure she'll say this, but she always says, like, she is who she needed. Like, Ms. Dell is who she needed. And for us to partner together is like it's a key part of the model, because she has the lived experience, and she now has the clinical experience as well. I think she didn't say about her education, but she just graduated. She's doing her master's. So like she has the clinical experience as well. But then I bring, what I bring. And so both of us co-facilitate this space. But she is who she needed. And so we have been running bi-weekly moms groups for 3 years straight. And we do bi-weekly grief groups that are an hour 15 every other Monday. We do self-care events. We do holiday events. We do family events, which is what I'll kind of get into as to how we got to the siblings. But that piece, because that just came about the siblings and making sure that they have a space as well. I think Dallas is back in the waiting room, and so I hope she can answer that.
Yeah, you need to balance. Yeah, whoever's doing the controls got to bring her forward.
Yeah, so her own shift was powerful. And so we are recruiting right now for Ms. Dell. She always says this is the club that no one wants to join. She always says we are not recruiting new members, right? Like she doesn't want any new members, and Patterson Healing Collective doesn't want any new moms, right? But the Sisterhood Squad has open seats. And so we know that moms across the city oftentimes like feel alone, and they feel like nobody can understand their pain, and nobody really gets what I'm feeling as a mom who has lost her child. That thing is like a piece of their soul got snatched. Like their hearts are, the brokenness of their hearts cannot even be described in words. And like they get each other. And so we have open seats in the Sisterhood Squad, which is, now open so that new moms can join. And then we're also, creating a space for the siblings, which starts February 23rd, because the siblings are often, I'll explain that later as to like the dynamic in the household, I guess, until we bring Dell in. Sometimes like folks are grieving separately. And, some people, the mom is in her room grieving and the sibling is in their room grieving, and nobody wants to trigger each other. Everybody wants to be strong for each other, and nobody meets in the kitchen, And so that's how we even then created the sibling group, which is called the Voices Collective. So that starts on the 23rd. Welcome back, Del.
Sorry about that. The one day my phone and my laptop want to act crazy. Right?
So I already explained like how we got to Sisterhood Squad a little bit, and the sibling and how we have open spots, but you never want new members. But Baba asked you that super deep question, and then it started breaking up. So y'all go ahead.
All right. All right, Baba.
Did you hear the question? No,
I didn't hear the question at all. That's when it started.
No, what I was asking you is that in your journey to where you're at now, doing this work in a very anchoring way at the Patterson Healing Collective, at what point did you realize that it was time and that it was okay for you to go beyond just saying, hey, we've gone through this stuff, but to actually pay attention to your own healing?
Whoa.
That's what I said.
Whoa, yeah. So growing up in the family that I grew in, I have a Christian background, growing up in a family that I grew up in, and in our household, there was no therapy. We went to church. Right. So it was literally like, and I still remember, and I'll share this with Aaliyah, having this conversation with my mom, when now that I'm doing the work, I know she probably needed therapy. God rest her. But her exact words was like, I go to church. So for a very long time, that's what I lived off of. It was like, all right, I'm gonna just give it to God. I'm gonna give it to God. God, please help me through this. God, help me figure this out. Right. And then we were actually in a Sisterhood Squad group back in 2024. Now, at this point, I had been at PAC for a year, and we were in a group session one day, and a couple of moms were saying how they had tried counseling, but they were getting like book counseling, pretty much just giving me the book, what it says in the book, and not really getting to the core of me. So I put out a charge and was like, okay, if Ms. Dell signs up, will you guys sign up? And it was two particular moms that was like, okay. So we kind of went on like this buddy system. But one thing I will definitely say is the best thing I ever did for myself. It's the best thing that I ever did for myself. And I just don't like, and the ironic thing is now I am Ms. Dell, right? I am the Ms. Dell that you guys get to see.
Yes, you are.
And it took me a while to get there, right? And I look back and I see the mom that I was 12 years ago when I first got that phone call. The mom that I was 5 years ago when I was just trying to navigate life as it was. But I also, because my faith is a big part of who I am, I remember my conversation with God as to why did he take my son? And his response was, I needed him to get to you. So here I am. Here I am. And me doing the therapy and me doing the counseling and stuff, now I'm able to provide that for and I say my moms because they are mine. Like they are me and I am she is me. And we live this life that don't nobody understand but another mother. And 12 years ago, I didn't have a Miss Dell. I didn't have a me. I didn't have somebody that I could talk to, somebody that will understand. And I'm sure there probably was moms and dads going through it, but I didn't have anybody that I can talk to. The people closest to me were the ones that pretty much was like, ain't nobody got time for that. Like literally that. And then I won't say what I was told, but a friend who we had experienced life together was actually the person that went with me when I had to identify Jalik. Told me 2 months after his passing that she didn't have time for my emotional ... And I was like, and that was my friend. I considered her a friend, right? Her daughter is my goddaughter. So, and it was like, so I didn't have a me. So when Lisa and Aaliyah came to me about the painter plate and then Sisterhood Squad took place, it was just like, I and my sister was already doing it. But now we have a space where we can actually do it and moms can come in. And like Aaliyah said, it's the group that nobody, I do a brunch every year. And every year at the end of my brunch, I say, I don't want to add another mother or father's name to my list. Every single year, I'm saying the same exact thing. And when I started 10 years ago, we had 12 moms for I and my sister. Now, besides the moms that I see at PAC, at Patterson Healing, I and my sister now is moms and dads of like 85, 95.
And Miss Dell, are you saying I don't want to add another mom because I don't want another mom to go through this? Or I don't want to add another mom because we're full?
No, I don't want another mom to go through this.
I
don't want another mom to go through this. Like,
right.
It's not an organization. Now, if you want to be a part of my team, that's different. But most people that's a part of I and my sister, most moms and the moms and dads that I see at Patterson Healing is because they've lost a child.
Right.
Yes, we in the organization ourselves, we understand each other. The Sisterhood Squad understands each other. I and my sister, we understand each other because we are moms who've lost children. But no, never do I want another mom to come. Like somebody, usually moms wind up in I and my sister because somebody knows that I have this organization, this support group, and they'll be like, Ms. Dell, here's another mom that's lost a child that they met in the community. And they probably lost their child 15 years ago. I just never knew about it. Yeah. Right. And I never turned anybody away.
Right.
Like, so yeah, that's what
thank God for you. I know I go to St. James, and when my pastor came, he had an experience where he had another pastor commit suicide. And after that day, Pastor Slaughter was very clear, like, you can come to church if you need prayer, but if you need therapy, you need to speak to somebody. And and he made that clear distinction. You don't come to me for what you need from a therapist. And on the other hand, like you said, then you have the therapists who just want to give you the book. That's a whole nother problem because you need somebody who really needs. to meet you where you are when you need people. So thank God for that you are providing, and unfortunately you have the real life experience that you wish it could be something that you get from a book and not how you had to get the experience. So sorry that how you arrived, but like God said that he got to you through your son. So thank you for what you are providing, because that's a service that is unique unto who. So thank you for that, that for just giving of yourself like that.
And if I could just add,
Yeah, come on.
I just want to add that, like, well, two things. One, like, based on what Ms. Dell is talking about, like, the amount of judgment that comes towards moms from the community at large. Now, like, some of it is just like, I'll be honest, like, some of it is judgy with malice and some nosy. And then the other of it, right, is like judgy without malice, because the community at large doesn't even know what to say, right? Like they don't know how to really like comfort the moms within the community. But that's why the group is so important, because everybody in there knows what to say to each other, essentially. And so, like, to just not feel judged within your grief process, like she said, 2 months, or some people after like a couple weeks, they're like, but you got other kids. What?
Right.
Like,
And that's the conversation that's always had. Right? It's always said, like, to me, I got that, like, but you got other kids, you got grandkids. I'm like, okay. But he was the first of the three. Like, he's the first one to call me mommy. Like, and we grew up together. I had him very young, so we grew up together. And then, like Aaliyah said, like, we have other moms who've come to us and said, like, are you finished grieving yet? What?
Yeah.
It's been 12 years. I'm still grieving. Like,
so the space itself is super non-judgmental, because folks have lived experience that they're bringing to the group space. And the thing I wanted to tag after you said what you said, Donna, and then based on what Ms. Dell said about the book, so our group, and because this is a little bit of like a recruitment, like we want to be able to advertise to whoever wants to join the group, it is a group, not a class. And I think that's the difference, right? Like, sometimes people come to class and then they like get lectured like somebody else is the expert on you. No. Like, even if Dell with her lived experience, that's still, she's not the expert on every single person in there, because everybody's grief is different, right? So like, it is a group, meaning 60% of the time they're talking. We are bringing activity. We can bring art-based healing. We're bringing dialogue, right? We're just asking questions to pull the answers up out of them. Like, this is not us talking to them, lecturing them, and definitely not from no textbooks. So I appreciate you saying that out loud, Donna, because if any Pattersonian moms are listening to this, like, our group is like real judgment-free, safe space. People can really like speak what's on their heart and get stuff off their chest in a way that's not like class textbook grief says XYZ or whatever. Like, come as you are. And sometimes people come to our group and don't say nothing, and that's okay.
That's people the best thing, actually. You learn more.
And they didn't want to paint a plate. That's okay, because grief don't fit in a box and grief don't follow a lesson. So I want anyone who's listening for both of our groups, like, it's a safe space, no judgment. You can come and not say anything. You can sit there and cry the whole 90 minutes. We're gonna give you a tissue and a water, and you know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to say that out loud.
Aaliyah, let me ask you this. I'm gonna bring this back to our Newark ecosystem, right? And this is just an open question, but it's one that I'm concerned about, and I got concerned about it a few months ago. Aressa Napa Williams, who has an organization of mothers in Harlem, came to Newark and gave a talk to, some of the orgs that are in our ecosystem. And, I got the impression that we were we had a deficit in our ecosystem in terms of a functional, a readily identifiable mother support group. Am I right or wrong? Do we need to work on that in our ecosystem?
So I will say out loud, as far as I do know, Lisa James of Hear My Cries does have a grief space. I circulated her flyers around the holidays. I don't know if she knows that, but she can hear it now, right? Like I did circulate her grief group flyers during the holidays. And at the bottom, it says contact for a grief peer specialist. So I still give the flyers, even though the holidays are over. So I don't know her cadence on groups, but I do know even during COVID, we were checking on her moms. So I know she has a network of moms, but I don't know the cadence of her groups or the location. But Lisa James has a footprint regarding this.
I wanted everybody to hear that, because folks are hurting and who've never gotten help, who don't know where to go. Lisa was not in the room for that particular meeting, which really made my had my antennas up, and and
then sometimes when people lead movements, and me and Ms. Dell have found this, it takes a long time for a mom to get ready to identify as a mom who has lost her child and therefore doesn't come to group or Dell's brunches or really anything for a while, because it takes a lot to even then take on that piece of identity.
We
so
have a
right
few
now
moms
who can't come yet,
Yeah, we have a few moms that are in the sisterhood squad. One of them went to our very first paint a plate. And when we started the sisterhood squad group, I would reach out to her and she would be like, okay. And then last year, out of nowhere, around her son's birthday, which is around now, his birthday just passed. I was kind of like just doing my check-ins that I do with a lot of the moms, and I'm my sister. And she didn't answer initially, but called me right back and was like, y'all still got that group down at your job? It was so funny. And I was like, yes. And we were actually coming up on our week for having group. And I was like, we there on Monday. And she been coming ever since. So she didn't come to, now she comes to my brunch too. But initially, like I said, it's when you're ready. I wasn't ready at first. It took me 7-8 years before I was even ready. And we just give the moms the space that they need. We have another mom that just started coming to us, I think sometime last year too. And then we have moms that have been there since the inception, because they've been, most of the moms there has lost kids 3 or more years. But
and I think the key part is that like Patterson Healing Collective and Ms. Dell are boots on the ground, and systems wise, they are such a human net within the community that like when violence occurs, they know exactly what mom, what family, what situation, and they're so boots on the ground. And we have boots on the ground as well that could get organized into a grief ecosystem, I think. But PHC and Ms. Dell like are so in tune with that little 8 square mile city. Right. Know everybody, and they have that net like around.
And Ms. Dell and Leah, we were talking about the arts earlier, and I will always bring the arts in as a reference. And I told you before, Leah, my mother was a social worker, so I always have a heart. I was just, Lifetime just tells heart movies, and there's a movie on there called "Give Me Back My Daughter" with Gabrielle Ms. Dell, right?
Yes.
And I'm thinking, and I'm thinking about what you were just saying, because the part that really, just knowing from my mother's experience as a social worker, I know it was a little exaggerated for artist purpose, but it was really good, and to tell a story, especially what you were saying, Ms. Dell, because the part they do with the circle, how she didn't really talk until the end, of how she really kept going to the group, but she just didn't want to talk, and it highlighted that part of, and I'm glad they, especially listening to you now, how they allow her character to continue going to group, but not wanting to be responsive until the latter part. So I think, Ms. Dell, that was, just for the social work, it was a good movie.
In your time, Donna, like even for myself, Aaliyah was talking about the paint a plate. And I remember the initial paint a plate, and she knows this. And the crazy part is I still have the actual plate. The initial paint a plate, she, set up, and because I am a mom, of course, she wanted me to have a space where I can, be able to paint a plate in honor of Juice. I still haven't painted it. I still haven't painted it. We almost 4 years in, right, Aaliyah? And I still have the actual plate that she gave me. But and she was like, Ms. Dell, this for you. And I was like, nah, I'm not doing it. Like,
and I said,
and
okay.
that's my truth. Like, I'm not doing it. Like, I can't, and my other two children who are now 35 and 37 almost, yeah, that even sounds crazy coming out of my mouth. But like sometimes even seeing them, sometimes like they've exceeded the age that their brother was 27 when he passed. So it was like when my youngest son is the baby. So it was like when he got to 27,
I bet you were.
I was no good.
Right.
And then, well, my daughter's older, so she got to 27 first. But with my son, it was definitely like, so now seeing him, he's a dad, right? He was a dad before his brother passed. Jalik never got the opportunity to become a father. So it's those things that like when holidays come, or my son and I, my daughter lives in Texas. So my son and I, my dad will go visit my daughter, and everybody's in the room, but there's still a missing piece.
Right. Yeah.
And for them, like going back to like us starting a siblings group now, my son living here, I've already brought it up to him, but I would want him to come in his time.
Right.
Like he knows it's available for him. He don't got to deal, because I know him and his sister have conversations that they don't share with me, and vice versa, because they're always looking to be like, we don't want to get mommy all emotional and stuff like that. They talk to each other because they're siblings. Some of the siblings that Ali and I have come into contact with, their sibling that has not, and mostly brothers, were the older, and they're the only other child. So it's just mom and that one child, right? Where my two have each other, that child doesn't have anybody but mom. So they're trying to be strong for mom. Mom is trying to stay strong for them, and everybody needs to kind of like
and their own trauma. Yeah, because I know from my mother, I would hear her say, and what you just said, and that's what my mother would say. For my mother, when she lost her mother, a trauma point for her was that she started praying, I just want to live 5 years past when my mother passed, and it was so traumatic for her. And like you were just saying, to see my child you just said my child exceeded the age of when my other child died. Those are all become markers that we all carry in our life when something, when we lose something or something that's so near and dear to us. And like you said, are you finished mourning? I don't know if that's such a thing,
It's not such a thing, Donna, because and I've shared this with Aaliyah before, and also with Lisa. Where I currently lived, I moved here during the pandemic, right? And before Jalik's passing, he lived with me. So I'm an empty nester now. Like I said, the ages of my kids. So I'm an empty nester now. Now, at the time I moved here, it had been 6 years since his passing. I was laying on my couch, and this very picture that sits behind me, at the time, my TV was right in front of it. And I laid down on the couch like I normally would when I come home from work. And I woke up, I had took a nap. I woke up and looked up at that picture and started bawling like somebody had just called me. Like it was August 31st, 2014, all over again, right? His birthday, this past year, his birthday's in May. His birthday was on a Saturday. So like now you see I have locks. His birthday that year, I was going to the barbershop like I normally would go, right? And I keep my side shaved. Sat down in the barber chair, but that goes to show how grief works. Sat down in the barber chair. I was fine on the 16th. His birthday is the 17th. And the guy that cuts my hair was like, we just cleaning up the sides. And I was like, no, take it off. And he was like, wait, what? And I was like, no, just take it off. It was me dealing with the grief because that following Tuesday, I was graduating from college. My daughter flew up here, her and her husband, for my graduation. So at my graduation, there's my son, my daughter, my dad, my siblings, my two aunts that are still living, but there's still something missing.
Right.
And that's juicy. Like that's, so the grief, and I remember my daughter saying to me, like, why are you crying? But then she caught it because my kids know me so well. And she was like, it's good, he here. But it's just those certain things, like people think that grief, like I often, and this is something that I feel like you really know who truly is in your corner once that casket gets lowered.
Yes.
That's when you really find out who has your back. Because during the whole, once they first hear about it, like Aaliyah was saying when I was coming back on, about how, people are just being nosy. So when they first hear about it, you're just hearing people like, well, what happened? Well, what happened? Now, my daughter stands almost 6 feet. My son is 6'5". My daughter is not the person that really says much. But during that time, she found the voice that mommy didn't have.
That's right.
Because she got tired of people asking me. I felt like I was repeating it over and over again. What happened? What happened? What happened? What happened? So finally one day she literally got on social media and was like, the next person that asked my mother what happened to my brother, they're gonna have to deal with me and my other brother.
And
because
that's
people don't want it, like you already gotta live it. You
traumatized.
don't want to keep it over and over and over again.
And just real quick, because I know we're almost out of time. The only other thing I wanted to mention, based on what Ms. Dell is saying regarding like outside public perception and information, I just want to, and then she was talking about her kids talking to each other. I want to just say for the sibling group out loud, again, if any siblings are listening to this, I just want to say out loud that the space, part of why it's so safe is because it's extremely confidential. It's extremely confidential, and you can share what you feel comfortable sharing, because obviously we can't control anybody's mouth, right? But what we can control is our own mouths as educators. And I just want to say this out loud, because a lot of the Sisterhood Squad moms are wanting to send their children, and I don't want their children thinking that we then going to tell the moms what they said in their group, or vice versa, right? We're not necessarily telling the sibling group what the mom said, because the whole point is they need their own spaces to be who they are. Bring your truth, good, bad, or ugly. Just bring your truth and know that it's going to stay here. So I want to say that because Patterson is very intersectional. It's a lot of crosses and intersections.
Yeah, and it's a space because maybe they don't want to burden their mom either, and or burden each other. So they need their own space. That's beautiful.
They may have a truth that is heavy, that other people would be like, oh my God, you thinking that? Nah, other siblings in the group is going to be like, yo, I feel the same way.
Right.
And another person going to be like, I feel the same way. And then they all going to be like, we feel the same way. And that truth is never going to be carried over to mom. Unless we come to an event where we're having moms and siblings, like we did at the end of the year for Thanksgiving and the holiday, and we bring the moms and siblings together, and then they make art and therapeutic spaces together, and now they're talking and this and that, which is cool. I love that work too. But it's because of that work that we were like, they need their own.
But something y'all just said for the person who does not have a child, or the person who doesn't have a sibling anymore, it seems like these spaces are creating possibly new families as well. It's creating is helping boys as well.
A micro village.
Because in that last painter plate, what we did with the siblings, one sibling shared her truth about her experience with her mom, which allowed another sibling to share with her mom exactly what she was experiencing, right? It opened up that door for her. And even when we did the family one, we still had siblings that were able to connect with each other, because we had moms, we had dads, we had, the siblings there as well, and even some nieces and nephews at that event. But those siblings kind of latched on to each other, because okay, now here's another sibling just like me. Like, they're not my sibling, but they're another sibling
they
who
get
knows
it
exactly what I'm feeling, right? Just like the moms know each other's feelings, like we without each other saying. Like some moms, like Aaliyah says, some moms come to our group, they don't say anything, right? Even if we open up the floor and kind of like voluntold is what Aaliyah and I say, them the opportunity to say something, they're just like, nope. But then when we're talking, they will chime in sometimes, not all the time. They will chime in and be like, yeah, that's how I'm dealing with this, right? And even like within our sisterhood squad, like I have a group chat that we talk in. So not even on just our bi-weekly. So like we just had a mom, like I said, one of our mom's son's birthday just passed, right? So we rally around that mom. When you don't see her in group, okay.
So they have
Everybody
ongoing.
has everybody's number. Like, why you not in group?
And the
Haven't seen you
siblings
in a
will have
while.
one too.
Say that
And
again.
the siblings will have one too. So that
Yeah,
group
same
chat
thing.
allows for ongoing community in between the group
Yeah,
sessions.
actually group sessions.
Yeah.
And I know there's a question asked without saying, and also outside of, there's so much, because you're boots on the ground. There are so many other like we have organizations where we have like prisoner reentry and things like that. Do y'all have those connections where you can refer, if it's not in your immediate group, where you can refer like, hey, we have somebody dealing with this, and how they can, call somebody that may need another resource? Do y'all do referrals and things like that?
So Patterson Healing Collective, we were talking about reentry. We have a leadership group called the Empower You, where we one of the other case managers, not my case manager, but one of the other case managers, Amar Reynolds, he has that where we do get young men and some older men as well that come home and they're just trying to figure out how to navigate life after, like after serving time and stuff like that. So they I know they just had an open house, and I'm not quite sure if they're at capacity right now, but that's one of the other resources we have. We also have our youth ambassador program, our YAP program, which is an after school program for kids who've been affected by community violence, the kids that people don't think deserve to be in an after school program, but we love them just the same. We love them just the same. Like, so that gives them a space where they can come. Baba has spoke with them. I've also spoke with them. They have a certain respect for Ms. Dell because I kind of come in with that my grandma role. They find it kind of hard. Some of them met my granddaughter a few years ago, so they do know that I am a grandmother. They found that hard to believe. But they do, they respect me all the best. Sometimes their moms might call me and be like, listen, Ms. Dell, this one is a lot right now. Like, so me just being Ms. Dell, I know how to converse with them, and even with my coworkers as well. And then also we have our HVIB part where we actually go to the hospital when people have been injured by violence, by gunshot, stabbing, and domestic violence as well. So there's a lot of entities to PAC, and it's one that I'm glad that I'm a part of, besides being a part of the Sisterhood Squad. Like I said, I've been around since its inception, but I started working full time about it's going on 4 years now. Wow, that time's going fast. It's going on 4 years since I started working there. But there's a lot with PAC, and it's work that I'm going to do until my wheels fall off, and I don't plan on them for. I just turned 45 in my head, 55 for real, 45 in my head.
And you know what? And it seems like it's not even work to you. It seems like it's passion and love.
It's not work to me. I worked a job. I was a retail store manager for 25 years, right? And that was work. Right. And then prior to coming to PAC, I was a front desk receptionist at a radiology center. And that was work. And when the opportunity came, when Lisa reached out to me, I was actually on my way to my graduation for my associates back in 23. And she was like, you ready? And then that's when I was like, I'm ready. Right. Like I'm ready to do the work. And I don't see it as work. Like, me continuing, I take my licensing exam next month. So I'm headed into therapy counseling, thing myself. I'll be graduating with yet another degree, thank God, in May. So it's just that I don't even look at it like I'm working. Does it get heavy? Yes, I'm human, right? Sometimes it's hard to sit in front of when we get the calls. that there's another life lost, and Ms. Dell, we need you to talk to this family. Like, sometimes it does get heavy, but I always remember my why. I remember my promise to God. I remember me going to honor Jalik, right? And that's why I do it. So it doesn't, even on the heaviest days, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be there for these moms. I'm gonna now be there for these siblings. Like, I don't even look at it.
Thank you. And I'm not cutting you. You see my producer in the back going like this. So thank you, Ms. Down. He wasn't doing a strobe light. So thank you. So thank you for being here. And don't be a stranger, and don't wait for us to call. Let Aaliyah know if there's something you need us to know. Feel free to come back. But this is a hip hop political show. So when you're doing this calling, is there a hip hop artist, individual, or group that you listen to keep you inspired?
See, I'm old school, so give me anything. I want to say like the Sugar Hill Gang. Like, I'm old school, right? Like, I just told my age. I graduated from high school listening to like Houdini, Biz Markie. Like, I like all of those guys. I love Biggie and Tupac, love all of them. I'm not too much on the latest hip hop. I know some of the songs because of the kids at work. But yeah, give me old school hip hop.
Okay, well we got a hip hop and hippie for you too. So, and Aaliyah, who you listening to?
So nowadays, not necessarily for the moms, but the younger people I'm working with, Rod Wave. Rod Wave has a very good healing music and needs to be in curriculum and healing spaces. So I would say Rod Wave is doing some good healing work in these trenches.
Okay. Well, thank you. And what I will tell you, we'll come back and talk about that. Rutgers is teaching Bad Bunny 101. So we'll talk about that next time. Okay.
Wow.
We learn so much from y'all every time. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys.
Thank you.
See you next week.
Okay. Have a good one.
All right. So listen, I'm gonna let you do the introduction, man.
Well, you was ready you was jumping at the bit. You could do it. I'll just fill in the blank.
Well, listen, man, I'm overjoyed, obviously, to have this conversation and get an opportunity to celebrate Baba Chokwe Lumumba, one of the greatest mayors to ever do it, from a revolutionary perspective. And we are absolutely honored beyond words to have his sister on with Sushanna Shakur. I mean, your book couldn't really be more on time than this particular time of what's going on in this country. So we're absolutely overjoyed. We're elated to have you. I also think you're one of the greatest storytellers. I had an opportunity to watch a couple of your videos, and I think you tell great stories. So I can't wait to hear you tell us about your brother and tell us about the book. So welcome to the show. Welcome to All Politics Are Local.
Grand Rising and revolutionary greetings from Detroit. And I appreciate that intro, my brother. I am happy to be here with my brothers today and my sister. And my brother, Chokwe Lumumba, is like one of my favorite subjects of all time. So whenever I get a chance to talk about him, I'm honored to do so.
So let's jump into it.
And is that your brother? That's him in the background?
That's him.
I can see it all in the face. Yeah.
That's him.
That's him. Okay.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite portraits. Actually, our sister Itari has a friend who is a street artist, and this is a charcoal portrait that he drew of my brother, and just love this portrait of him. But in terms of the book, brother, you said it's right on time. It's it's timely.
Yes,
You know
ma'am.
the saying about God may not always come when you call him, but when you call him, when he comes, he's right on time. And
Right.
that's this book. This book was in the makings for quite some time, and it's just now coming out. So, and if you want me to get started, I can tell you a little bit about the book.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So it's titled Memories of My Revolutionary Brother, Chokwe Lumumba. And it is my memoir. It's a memoir of my brother. The unique thing, I think, just my memoir or me speaking in this book with my memories of Chokwe, but it is our siblings, his law partners, some of his comrades, and I'm really happy to say some of his comrades who transitioned, within the last few years. Baba Bilal Sunni Ali, Baba Ahmed Obafemi, some great warriors are in this book talking about Chokwe. And then we have Chokwe in the book talking. I've taken excerpts from some of his speeches and include them in the book. And what inspired me to write this book was when I learned of Chokwe's transition, which was totally unexpected. And the first thought, I think, or one of the first thoughts that came to my mind is, what can I do with this information? How do I digest this? How do I receive this? What do I do? And all I kept hearing reverberating in my mind is, I've got to tell the story. I've got to tell the story of this great man, this revolutionary, who I consider an unsung hero. Absolutely. Everyone's got to hear the story about him. And so that inspired me to write this book.
You got a question for Zaid?
No, I'm just taking it all in. I'm just taking it all in because I can remember, and she and I were talking earlier in the day, and I told her when my first time I laid eyes on Chokwe, I was still in undergrad school, and you can remember them days when we just had a few channels, 2, 4, 5, 11, and 13, and they all went off the air at a certain hour. I can remember this one day. Was going off the air, and it was the last news flash that some black radicals had been arrested, and here's Chokwe with Fulani, right? And then Chokwe had his dashiki on, and he was running it down. I said, "Oh my God, that's the lawyer that Malcolm wanted to be," Yeah. And then a few years later, literally just a few years later, I'm in the same space with him and Ahmed Obafemi. When I wound up working with both Chokwe and Ahmed, right, in Harlem. He brought him into Harlem, and we had a blackboard in the room. And that black man got hold of that piece of chalk and started rocking it all I said. And I just said to myself, God damn. I'm here. Y'all got it. Right? And that was, the beginning of an incredible relationship and my own introduction to what we call New African independence thought. I would later become a citizen of the Republic of New Africa under the great Safi Bukari, right? But that, Chokwe and Ahmed were very much a part of my political foundations at that point in my life. I was just in my, this is the mid 1980s. I was actually young then. My hair was red, it wasn't gray. Right, and it became one of my important anchors, and it would lead to so many other things going down the road in my life, and she's right. He is an unsung hero. That network, that generation of warriors that he belonged to, that some of who she just named are unsung heroes. There's a new book coming out on Queen Mother Moore, for example, right? But all this stuff,
Right.
Gotta lift up. ain't enough to stand on the shoulders of those who got us here. We got to lift them up too, so others can stand on them too. So it is
right.
on time. So yeah, I just doing this in my own head. But Sushanna, start telling us some of them stories we don't know about Chokwe.
Yeah, so I guess where I'd like you to start, though, my sister, is, you called the book My Revolutionary Brother, and that's really how we know, Brother Mayor Baba Lumumba. That's how we know of him. He's a great leader. He's a great revolutionary, and he was an asset. In my mind, he became the kind of mayor that we want to see leading cities, right? Somebody who understood, not only what political life was really about, and understood what having that position meant and what it could do for the people. And he tried to maximize that, right? And I can remember reading something where he said somebody was concerned about, whether they would win the next election. And I really dug what he said. He said, that's up to the people, right? And that is so true, right? Because when you doing the work, and it's really about the people, you're not concerned about what the naysayers are saying. What you're concerned about is what are the people going to say? And if the people don't think I'm the right man for the job, so be it. So if you could, let's talk about that, because I dig the name of the book, My Revolutionary Brother.
Okay. Well, Sante Sana for that. And that was one of his campaign slogans. The people must decide, who's going to decide this election for him to be the next mayor of Jackson, Mississippi. Let the people decide. The people will decide that. Right. And in terms of, and Chokwe also, this is, I think, my favorite quote, and a lot of folks' favorite quote from Chokwe. He said, if you don't love the people, you will betray the people.
Sure did.
And in the book, when you follow Chokwe's life, Chokwe always loved our people. And one thing amongst many things that I admired about Chokwe is I don't ever recall Chokwe saying he hated anyone. I never heard him say that. I heard him speak of hating things that people did and hating institutions or systems and how we had to change it. I never heard Chokwe say he hated someone. So he definitely had a lot of love. And then, Brother Ed, you talk about, you asked me about him being a revolutionary. That is a big piece of this. How did he become a revolutionary? And that's why I brought my siblings into this, because I'm actually number 6 out of 8 children. Chokwe was number 2. And then I said, well, wait a minute. I don't even know what Chokwe was doing when he first got here and started growing up, right? So I had to bring my older siblings in to tell that story. And the story that you'll find in the book is that Chokwe was quite a quiet young man for a great part of his younger life. But he was athletic. Oh my God, Chokwe loved his sports, and his law partners teased him because they said Chokwe wanted us to believe he was somebody. He was an athlete in the Catholic School League here in Detroit in high school, and he was like up there at the top of the league. And there's some of the my older siblings write about how his basketball and track and football and how great he was, in those areas. And then Chokwe transitioned into high school after growing up with my parents who were civil rights activists, right? My parents welcomed young people from Selma, Alabama, into their home for a respite from being put in jail and beat upon in some of the marches. So Chokwe grew up in that type of environment. And it was my mother, I believe, who taught him about Emmett Till and what happened with Emmett Till. It was my mother and father who took him to King's. They took all of us. I don't really remember. I was one of the younger ones. But when Dr. King came to Detroit, and Chokwe speaks a lot about that was a turning point in his life. When Dr. King was assassinated, that is what Chokwe was.
Yeah, that was big for his generation. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and then he talks about the Republic of New Africa, and he talks about his mentor, Dr. Imari Opadele. There was actually Anwar Pasha, Papa Wells, and Queen Mother Moore, and these are his elders who inspired him to go to join the Republic of New Africa and to fight for a better life of our people. And then he talks, we talk about in the book, the different people who are talking about how he went to law school, right? His very first year of law school, he matriculated #1 in his class. Then he decides to join Baba. Yeah, he joins Brother Amari.
Go ahead.
Yeah, he joins Brother Amari in Jackson, Mississippi. And he's there for 2.5 to 3 years when my father wants to convince him to go back to law school, right? And Chokwe said he listened to what my father had to say. And he said, and what really, sealed it for him is what Brother Zaid said earlier. I wanted to be the lawyer that Malcolm X could not be. Yes. We all know Malcolm's story when that white teacher asked him what was he going to be, and he said, well, I'm going to be a lawyer. And he said, well, no, Malcolm, you know, niggers can't be lawyers. You need to decide something else to be, right? And I witnessed. That's another reason why I wrote this book, because I feel I had a front seat in Chokwe's life, becoming a revolutionary, being a revolutionary. And Chokwe was the lawyer that Malcolm X could not be. And in saying that, in the book, I'll tell you stories about how Chokwe went to jail, sometimes with his clients. One particular story is I called him and asked him how was he doing. He said, well, I'm okay now. I'm just getting out of jail. I'm just getting home from jail. And I said, jail? You mean your client was in jail? He said, no, I mean, I was in jail for the last few days. And so the judge and him had words in the courtroom, and the judge kept telling Chokwe, you're in contempt. Shut your mouth, Lumumba. Close your mouth. And Chokwe, every time he told him to close his mouth, he kept talking, and the judge kept fining him $100 until finally the judge ordered him jail. And that's who Chokwe was. You know what the case that was going on, they were being discriminatory against his client. He was trying to speak up for him. The judge wasn't going to let him speak up. So, he ends up going to jail, but he continues to fight for his client. And so he became a awesome attorney There are so many stories in the book that his law partners share as well as I do. So I hope you all can read it. And one other real important story that stands out is the New York Brinks. We call it expropriation case. Some people call it the New York Brinks robbery case. That case was Bilal Sunni Ali. He defended Brother Zaid mentioned Fulani Sunni Ali. He defended her in that case. He defended our brother Dr. Matulu Shakur in that case. And Chokwe on one day of the case, Chokwe presented a motion to the judge to recuse himself off the case. Remove himself off the case. And the judge said, on what basis? And he said, on the basis you're a racist, sir. And yeah, that's who Chokwe was. And the judge ordered him in contempt, delayed his sentencing until after the trial was over, and then sent two of the hugest white men I've ever seen in my life, because I was working in Chokwe's law firm in Detroit. And they came in there looking to arrest Chokwe, U.S. Marshals. So you will hear about stories like that in the book, okay? So I don't know if you wanted me to keep on, but it's just so much in this book.
No,
yeah, and then I know his journey to go into politics.
Sister Shakur, I had the pleasure of coming to Jackson maybe in 2015 to do voter registration. And I went by Medgar Evers' house and to the museum as well. So it's and then coming back later and being on the radio with Rakia several times. And I don't think I never had the opportunity to meet your nephew, but it seems like your nephew had the opportunity to follow his dad's footsteps. And just reading that he was very, your brother, meaning very engrossed in what was going on locally in Jackson. And it seems like the cause, like, to be that close to the ground, it had to be a very people-oriented, day-to-day thing to do. And just, I'm so sad to see that, that he lived it probably every day doing heart's work, and that he didn't get to do it to full term. Have you come to terms with how he left here?
Well, I miss him every day tremendously. So thank you for asking me that, my sister. I've definitely accepted it, but because, God gives life and God takes life away. There was some rumors and talk that someone caused his death. And the children, speaking of Mayor Chokwe Lumumba and Rakia Lumumba, they had an autopsy conducted, and I think Minister Farrakhan helped with some expenses on that autopsy, as well as the National Conference of Black Lawyers members, and they found out that my brother transitioned due to an aneurysm in his heart. And Chokwe's daughter Rakia, my niece, says it best, that the transitioning of her father and the fact it occurred due to an aneurysm in his heart just shows you how much he loved his people. Yeah. And I personally think stress will kill you. And I'm not a medical doctor. I don't know what causes an aneurysm, but certainly if stress may have caused that. But sister, you mentioned Medgar Evers, and thank you for doing that, because when I attended his funeral in Jackson, Mississippi, our beautiful Merle Evers spoke, and she mentioned something that I kind of had forgot about. It was Chokwe who brought Dave LeBeckwith, the assassin, the murderer of our beloved Medgar Evers, to justice. That man went free.
Over 30 years.
The one who gunned Medgar down in his front yard. He went free. How long, Zaid?
30 years.
Yeah, I thought it was like 22 years. I know he was free all those years, and yes. Chokwe was the one who helped. Merle. Yeah. So that was something that Elsie did, and you talk about his children. His children are his legacy, and both Mayor Chokwe and former mayor and Wakanda Lumumba are like their mother and father. But Wakanda, oh my God, she's just the spitting image of her dad in her community service to the people. Every time I turn around, she's helping free, trying to do something about the prisons, and particularly the sisters, where they're housing them in dirty, filthy conditions, and her work with people advocacy in other places. And then you have Mayor Chokwe Lumumba, the former mayor there. He is just a young version of his father. And I recall when his father was running for mayor, they told lies on his father. And I went down there. I've been to Jackson so much, I think I lived there. But they told lies on his father, talking about Chokwe Lumumba is not a Christian. And Chokwe Lumumba is going to destroy unity. He wants to divide people. And I recall attending a press conference where they were, the spokesperson or the journalist were asking Chokwe about these questions. And Chokwe, I've seen him also mellow over the years, because I've looked at a video footage of Chokwe, and I remember Chokwe when he was a younger man on fire.
Absolutely.
Don't mess with Chokwe.
Absolutely.
And you talk about an orator, I put him, of course, our beloved Dr. King and Malcolm X and Medgar Evers and some of them, great warriors. Chokwe can hang with the best of them. You talk about an orator, he was an orator. Yes. But this particular news conference, Chokwe was real chilled and mellow. And Chokwe Antar jumped in, and he took them to school. He was on fire. And I'm like, okay. So both of the children have done things, and I remember that would make their parents so proud of them, because they make their aunties so proud of them, that's for sure. But Chokwe Antar, in running the government down there, he was fighting to fix the water, and he was being fought against. And because, in my mind, what I've seen and learned about what was going on down there, they came for him. They came for him. They might have been coming for him anyway, but they came for him. And now there is an indictment out against my nephew. And I would like all your listeners to know that he's one amongst many Black elected officials who have not done the things they accuse them of, but they're taking them through the ringer to try to put things from the book will go towards my nephew's legal defense fund.
Absolutely. He's got
so I hope everyone
150% support and solidarity here without question.
I don't know if you all can still hear me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can. We can.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got 10 toes down solidarity here. I'm making it plain.
Yeah, but you absolutely right, Ms. Shakur. I mean, one of the things I said to Rakia when she was here, this is really about legacy, right? It has, them coming for Mayor Lumumba. It's more about legacy because his father was so great, and because the work that he was doing, and because of how great of an organizer Rakia is. Right. I mean, we all say that yeah, we know that Antoine was the mayor, but we also knew Rakia was the mayor.
That's right.
So and she's great in her own right. And I think that the people who are coming for them want to make sure that Lumumba doesn't rise again in Jackson because of the kind of work that they were doing, right? And in terms of not only politically, but what they were doing in terms of giving our people hope and that kind of stuff. As you know, I mean, in order to kill a people, you've got to kill hope and you've got to kill their leaders. And there was no greater leader than Baba Chokwe Lumumba in terms of how he did politics. He understood that politics was not the end, but it was a means to the end. And that it was to be used in order to elevate the people. And so that quote that he used, that if you don't love the people, then you will betray the people. That's an absolute truth. 100%
all the time.
Right. And so I think that, we need to, one thing for sure is that, we would definitely hold up our brother Antar here and make sure that, we do all that he can. Because that was one of the things me and Zaid was talking about tonight, was that we definitely want to talk about how do we put something together to support him before that trial gets started, so that, we make sure that people are going down to fill that courtroom so that those people know that that brother is not coming by himself. He's coming with all of us.
That's
Even
right.
if we can't fit in the courtroom, we want to be outside so that those people know that he has a community behind him who loves him and loves the Lumumba family for what they put forth for our people. So we are eternally grateful, my sister, for you coming through tonight. And this won't be your last time. We want to make sure that, we put something together. We'd love for you to come to Newark with the book and let us put together a book signing at our Black bookstore here in the city of Newark with you, so that, we can celebrate, Baba Mayor Lumumba here in the city of Newark.
Absolutely. That's 100%.
Brother Ed, I appreciate the invite. I certainly will be heading towards Newark at some point. I told Brother Zaid that it's going to happen, and my heart just feels real warm right now with your sentiments and what you all are going to do to help support my nephew, because a lot of people just don't understand how serious this is about not just my nephew, but all of our elected officials. I remember speaking to the brother on Marilyn Mosby case, the prosecutor who prosecuted those police officers on the Gray case. What's his name, in Baltimore? The brother that they put in that van and drove him around like maniacs and broke his neck. Right. Yeah. And then
Freddie Gray.
They came for her. See, that's what they do. That's their MO. And they came for her. Yeah, Freddie Gray. Thank you. And then the sister in New York, Letitia, the attorney general, I mean prosecutor is she, and then
Attorney General,
Fannie Willis, the prosecutor on Trump's case. And then they have mayors.
And our Congresswoman, Sister Shakur, our Congresswoman McIver.
Gillum, I think he was in Florida. Right. We can just keep going with these names because they keep coming. And I know I saw what they did. They didn't indict, thank God, you all's mayor, Baraka, but what they did was just ridiculous. This is what they're doing. This is what they're about. Yes. So I'm glad that we're gonna unify and not just with my nephew. I appreciate the help with support with my nephew, but with everyone who these Black elected officials that they're going after.
Well, Sister Shakur, we have an important. You want me to ask that, or you want to ask?
No, go ahead.
Okay. Well, this is a hip hop political show. So when you're writing a book, speaking about your brother, your nieces, and your nephew, is there a hip hop artist or individual or any musician that you listen to that keeps you inspired?
Okay, I caught the tail end of your last guest.
Yes.
Are they gonna ask me that one? Okay, and I'm a lot older than the sister that was on before, but and at least she lived. That was her generation, so that certainly was not mine. The when hip hop came out. But it's my children's generation, and it's my favorite hip hop rappers generation, and that would be Tupac Shakur. Okay, so and I actually listened.
Famous club of the Black Panther Party. Baby.
I've listened to Tupac. Yeah, he grew up in the New African. He was a New African Panther. He grew up with a scout. That's what he was. And he spent the night over at Chokwe's house, and Chokwe used to tell me that Tupac reminded him of my son, who is now joined the ancestors, because my son was 10 years older than Tupac. But he said Tupac reminded him of my son. And so I had to check this Tupac out. And I did. And I tell everyone by my name being Shakur. And by the way, that's in the book too. How my name is Shakur. Several of the siblings' names are Shakur, and several are Lumumbas. And it's a story behind that. But I always tell people when I'm explaining my name or spelling my name, Sushanna Shakur, and I'll say, Shakur like Tupac, but I had my name first.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Well, thank you.
Well,
so you are really,
You see, folks are asking, where can they get the book?
Go ahead.
Is it possible for them to pre-order the book? Folks want to know that. Is there any information we can give on that?
Okay, so the way we have it set up is we're having a book launch in Detroit on February the 28th. And then after that, the book will be available at Source Booksellers. That's a Black bookseller online, and as well as Amazon. That will be the 25th. I'm sorry, 28th of this month.
And it's called the Source Booksellers.
And I'm sending it to you now, Zay. So Yeah, I'll send the flyer to them for the it's
Yes.
$29.99.
SOURCE book sellers.
I think Lisa Davis is doing something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's supposed to be there because our bookstore is Source of Knowledge. So that's woo.
Yeah.
We'll get it in
So
there.
so Donna, let's put that in the chat. You know, the
Yes.
source booksellers, so that people know where they can get the book. You know, and then, you know, obviously you got some folks saying they definitely want to make sure you put Newark on your schedule because they definitely want a signed copy of it. So we definitely want to make sure we get that done as well with you. So me and Zaida come back, we'll talk to the people and the powers that be at
Okay.
Source of Knowledge.
Are you able to do that for me, sister?
Yes. I'm gonna use Zaid, the same flyer that you did for the announcement.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, we'll post it and we'll get it done. But listen, Ms. Shakur, you don't need an invitation to come here. You know, you now got our numbers. All you got to do is hit us up anytime you want to come through. You know, feel free to come through. As my brother Zaid's like to say, this is our open drum to the community.
Did she hear us?
I think it's a delay, or she might be having some issues.
Yeah.
Did she freeze?
I think she froze.
Yeah, she's frozen. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We got to know. We got.
Yeah, I'm having some issues. Okay. I heard that, brother. It's a drum for the community.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Don't worry, but that's probably our cue to wrap up. That's all right.
I don't know what's going on with I keep freezing.
No, that's the enemy. Don't want this information.
Oh, I see that.
But he can't stop us. He can't stop us.
Okay. Well, I'll be glad if you all will have me back. I'll be happy to come back, and next time I'll get on another device. I don't know what's going on with this one.
Well, we would definitely look forward to having you back. Have you come through and tell some more stories, and then of course by that time we all would have had an opportunity to get the book and read it ourselves, and I'm sure we'll have a lot more questions for you about one of the greatest freedom fighters of our time, the great Mayor Baba Chokwe Lumumba. We appreciate you, my sister, and thank you so much.
All right. Free the land. Appreciate you all.
Free the land.
Thank you.
Free the land. By any means necessary.
Any means necessary. That's right.
That's right.
Oh, powerful.
Yo, man, what an interview, brother.
Powerful night.
Yeah, man. It was, man, I tell you, Zaid, it's funny, man, when you have great people on like that, it's a conspiracy on my part, brother. You know what I mean? They messing with my
exactly so many times online. I know it's a conspiracy.
They messing with that. But yeah, man. So we had a great show, man. It was incredible. And Zaid, we definitely want to, me and you gonna get together. We're gonna talk about some things. But we definitely want to put that together, man. You know what I mean?
I already started the New York conversation, so I know we could do, and he's got a different, history in New York. And this is good this will be very good. It will be added support. We can do this up here in our area. Absolutely.
Yeah. And hopefully we can put it all together at the same time where, it'll end up being, her book release, and we can do something around, a book signing with her at Source, and then, put something together where, we can organize a fundraiser for brother up here, so that we make sure we help them in that fight.
And it says that the trial is set for July.
Yeah, I think it's sometime in July. I think it's supposed to.
Yes.
if they haven't changed that date, but we'll check that to know for sure. Because, listen, you all were here when I told Rakia, they coming for, and you heard her say it, they coming for family because of who their father was, right?
Yeah.
And that's what this is all about. I mean, it's no different than them coming for the mayor. They coming for him because of who his parents were. Right?
That's right.
And they want to make sure that legacy and that kind of work doesn't continue. But we're glad that that we have this kind of drum that we invite them on and have an opportunity to get that information and story out to the people. So we want to thank everybody for coming through. Zayed, you want to start that off and just thank the folks?
Oh, it's been a long show, long night and a good night. The young people from the Youth Power Coalition, those incredible students and their teachers, right? Who they shouted out themselves. Great
Naseed
Gifted as we get ready for, he gets ready for. I'm broke. I can't go.
The Wakanda Ball.
Because as they get ready for the Wakanda Ball, right? Our dean of Afrofuturism, right? And then our two incredible sisters from the Patterson Healing Collective, Dellwanna Miller and Aaliyah Berry. Now Aaliyah is works with the Patterson Healing Collective. She's an independent, therapist in her own right, but she, we all have a special place in our heart for what she does, both in Newark and in Patterson. But for the Patterson Healing Collective, it's a great group of people I'm very, very proud of, and I'm working with them for a minute, and I want to make the most of the minute that I have with those young folks. And then finally, our beloved sister and elder warrior Sushanna Shakur, the little sister of Chokwe Lumumba, people's warrior lawyer, and incredible once upon a time mayor of Jackson, Mississippi, straight out of Detroit, one of the pioneers of the new African independence movement. Great unsung warrior who we love dearly. It's been a powerful night.
Yep, without a doubt. So you have any final things you want to say, Zayed?
Well, look forward to a bunch of things. February 21st is right around the corner. It's Malcolm's assassination anniversary. The Shabazz Center will do their thing under Ilyasa Shabazz's stewarding on the evening of February 21st. Early in that day, we'll be co-hosting a in defense of self-defense, something that Huey P. Newton said about our right to defend ourselves. But this is actually a tribute to our people in the martial arts that we'll be doing in the Bronx. So much. I'll stop there because we need to end the show at some point.
And we have time about the No Kings March. We can talk about that later.
March 28th. No Kings March. You see the link online or whoever that's associated with it. We want to try and get 1,000 people registered to participate before March 28th, and should be a very powerful one. We've got some local stories that we need to lift up too. I'm trying to get hold of the family of John Wilson Brutus, who died in custody at Delaney Hall, and the family of Wally Bay, who was killed by police. Some of these masked undercovers, right here in Newark. The volume for that needs to be turned up. So look forward to those connections. And we're still trying to have that Minneapolis conversation too. Hopefully we can get some of those folks next week that we were trying to get last week. So we got a lot coming. We're gonna keep it coming. That's how this drum works.
You got anything down there?
Nope. Everybody, tomorrow, as Naseed said, we're co-opting Valentine's Day, and tomorrow's Black Love Day. Everybody have a powerful weekend and stay warm.
Yes, ma'am.
Yep. And as far as for me, I want to thank you all for tuning in, of course, to All Politics Are Local, America's #1 political hip-hop radio talk show. And as my brother Zayed like to say, we'll catch them where's I.
We'll see you in the whirlwind. And you don't stop.